Welcome to Storm King's Thunder, where me and a bunch of my nerdy-ass friends get together, and we like to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Tonight, we are on session 49, which is fucking insane to me. On last week's session, the Lords had entered Skullport, the devious city of debauchery and sin, and navigated their way through to quite a few adventures. Just for starters, they met up with Gideon, who had disguised himself and was helping them navigate through the city, telling them of the few things that he was aware of, including the meeting of the slavers that he knew was going to happen in the Tower of the Seven Woes, a ship mounted on chains 70 feet above the bay, and was telling them that they have a few hours to kill beforehand. You guys made your way through the city, buying some goods on the Old Market Bridge, most notably the Heart of Stone that Z got. We also checked out the slave markets, where Gulbrand purchased Nori, a member of the Great Worm tribe, who he had unknowingly orphaned when he killed her father. But she recognized that her father was very reluctant to accept help from outside the tribe, and even more so, was just a stubborn fuck. And Gulbrand had paid his life debt by freeing her. Pandora took some time to unlock several of the prisoners within the market and tell them at the first sign of chaos to make a run for it. You guys did stumble across Armand, and in doing so tailed him quite a bit until you followed him to the overflowing urn, where you saw him sneak inside to speak with a gentleman in orange clothing, which you later identified as Lord Sage. I said orange, excuse me, green clothing. Lord Sage had given Armand a note and a small pack of small satchel, and Armand had taken the note, stuffed it in a black book into his coat's pocket, and then taken the bag of what you presume is gold into his coin purse. You guys checked a little bit more around the city before following Armand toward the spire. You did meet up with Sienna, Aark and Pandora's contact, who, with a small fee, was able to tell you how to make your venture into the spire a little easier. By climbing on top of the roof of the 3-story inn in the southeastern part of town, you are able to jump across a 15-foot gap onto the spire, about halfway up, and thus have to slip by half as many guards on your way up. Thankfully, with a pass without a trace from Gulbrand, you guys managed to make very easy work of that, and crossed over the web of chains onto the ship, where you met up with Osvius, who had been eavesdropping on as much as he could without being detected. Shortly after you guys were on deck, you saw a Mind Flayer enter and proceed into the hull. You guys then realized that you were discovered, as the Mind Flayer's psionic abilities had picked up on your location, and Armand invited you to come down into the hull. You guys declined, and the three of them proceeded to make their way up onto the deck. Armand Hammer, in particular, very surprised to see Aark, and began looking around for Pandora, who, in true Pandora fashion, was completely gone, practically non-existent for all intents and purposes. You guys then proceeded to work through a bit of a negotiation. Amhergo wanted to offer you guys everything he could to ensure that you didn't interfere with the Iron Ring's plan. He offered to protect the city of... Wolfie! Quit being a butt. Sorry. He offered to protect the cities of Nightstone, Bremen, and the Utgard tribes from any future attacks of the Iron Ring. He promised to give you information on Pandora's sister, on the incoming army from Bane Darkwind, information on Gideon's mother, which Pandora was very keenly able to see was sort of a half-truth, provide all the information he had on his mother, but she didn't think that he had enough to make it worth it for Gideon. Despite this deal, and even adding on Armand Hammer after Aark said that there was a conflict of interest he couldn't ignore, you guys decided that it still wasn't worth it, and combat broke out. You guys made your way through a very bitter combat, being stunned by the Mind Flayer, slowed by Amhergo, and having quite a bit of difficulty overcome what seemed to be a myriad of spells that the Horned Dwarf had somehow multiple focuses on, and despite y'all's best efforts, and taking down Armand twice for Pandora, And speaking of, this makes me think of, there's a part at the very beginning of Puss in Boots where he's going through, like, all his names, like, the Ginger Hitman, the Gato Diablo, but he says, Frisky 2 times. And that's what I think of you killing him twice. But you guys managed to take down Armand, again, twice, and the Mind Flayer. You had raised enough of a fuss where several of the skulls of Skullport had made their way to the ship. I believe there's 4 that are currently on the ship and 1 that is sort of in fragments on the deck. And when Amhergo realized that he was on the losing end of this, started to form a fireball in his hand that grew and grew and grew. And was not the traditional fireball, but rather a much more powerful spell that Z was able to identify as a delayed blast fireball. A very powerful form of magic. I don't mind telling you guys now that it's a 7th level spell,
Jesus
and
Christ.
the damage when it erupted was the equivalent of a 9th level fireball. So quite a fucking bit of heat behind that. Amhergo, of course, built this up, intending to use it as a method to halt you from proceeding. However, Aark and Pandora, persistent, followed and bludgeoned him until his focus broke, and with it, the ball erupted in flame, blasting out. And actually, before I finish that, we'll go ahead and call an end to the recap. Any comments, questions, side remarks, things I forgot?
Forgot to say that Armand's particularly a little bitch.
He is a little bitch. Last week was pussy, this week is bitch.
It sounds like we need to not only prioritize getting to Aark, but also getting to his body. It sounds like he has some stuff we need.
I was about to ask if I could loot that dude for some rangs.
Well, we're gonna see where the dice fall.
Yeah, he's not dead yet.
Or where his corpse falls.
Oh, he will be. Don't worry, I'll make sure.
Yes,
I'm very excited to see. All right. With that, we'll go ahead and get started with tonight's session. Now, this is an instant where time seems to slow down. You watch Pandora and Aark as the only 2 who can directly see Amhergo when this happens, as the fireball blips out of existence for just an instant before you are blinded by a searing heat that blasts you back. You hear the sound of wood splintering as this blast, which is huge, by the way, I've drawn a circle here to give you a true idea of the radius of this, has just decimated this ship, blasted pretty much the whole stern off of this ship. It is wreathed in flames, the sails above ablaze, split between its bow and its midpoint. And as the structural integrity of the ship degrades to the point where the ship begins a free fall, still attached to a few of the chains, it swings outward. Now, the stern is practically non-existent. Y'all have practically destroyed the entire rear of the ship. But the bow is still largely in one piece, and what half of you are standing on. As the bow swings out, all of you are flung down to the city and the slums and the briny bay below. The bow, with this incredible momentum, swings out on the chains and slams into one of the stalagmite pillars that is supporting it and shatters the ship. And 2, you feel this dread as this dreadfully deep crack as the stalagmite itself shatters and begins to fall. In this instant, we're going to make a couple of checks to see how quickly you react to what is happening around you. Just as a point of order, in this mix, Amhergo, partially dazed from his own blast, is currently in free fall to the city below. Armand, his body seared from the blast of the fireball, his coat untouched, his weapons on his belt, also begins making a free fall toward the waterfront. Aark, you are unconscious at the moment. Osvius, who is also near the blast site, is not unconscious, but is in very rough shape. With that, as I need Pandora and Gulbrand to make a Constitution save.
Yuck.
This is because both of you were in the blast radius and hit. And Gulbrand, I went back and forth on this. I'm just going to have you roll a flat roll because I thought about giving you disadvantage because you failed the deck save for the fireball. But then you were also the one of the group that was behind the... that actually had some form of cover. The wood was between you and the initial blast, so I decided to negate that disadvantage. Both of you rolled very well. In fact, with a 20, Gulbrand, you have, you see in this instant where you all begin free falling that you can grab onto Aark as a free action. You managed to grab onto Aark's collar, the pauldron, or the, I guess do you have armor, Aark? I'm trying to remember what you're wearing.
Yeah, I have a breastplate, but I have a jacket on over it.
You catch sort of like, you hook him underneath the breastplate and get a hold of him. Pandora with a 18, both of you are going to make the next check at advantage, okay? So I need everyone except Aark to make a dex save. As a point of order, Gulbrand, you are raging. You do have advantage on this.
All right, so I roll with
Actually-
advantage instead.
Oh, there's a natural.
Gulbrand. Oh, no,
nice.
both of you have advantage, yeah. Oh, and a nat 20. Excellent. I'm going to roll for
Damn,
Osvius and
Oh.
Gideon.
Damn. All right, here we go.
This is a good start.
No. Oh, no.
Don't say that, Joey.
I'd just like to say, I got Dimension Door, and I can take somebody with me to the ground. So if you need another spot for the feather fall.
I'm going to send this to Devin and Barb real quick.
Maybe you should take Aark. Someone needs to grab the dwarf, and I think Gulbrand is strong enough to keep him grappled if Gulbrand can get to him.
So,
Or someone else
Yeah,
has
either
another
Aark
way.
or your is that your illegitimate daughter down there?
No.
to be fair,
Who's
he had
who's this
decent
down here?
odds. Like, who is? Oh, that's Gideon. You fuck.
Oh, Gideon. Okay, I didn't know if Gideon was up top. I thought that might have
That's
been Gideon.
Osvius. No,
Okay.
that's Osvius.
No, he
Isn't it
pointed to-
obvious?
Yeah, no, I
Oh,
wondered
I'll
if-
take
yeah.
Gideon.
Osvius and
wondered-
Gideon both rolled a 2 on their check. Not a nat 1, thankfully, because that would have fucked them up a little more. But they are both very stunned from this blast. So the way we're gonna do this, we're gonna go in order of your dex checks. So did anyone get above a 20?
Z got a
Z
20.
I
did.
technically rolled a 21. Hey,
Perfect.
See, dude.
All right.
It was the nat 20. if that
Next is
matters.
Gulbrand with a 20. Next is
Davos with a 20.
Davos had the 20.
Oh yes, Davos, Pandora.
Dirty 20.
19. Bergen. Who am I
got a
missing?
10.
1, 2.
Bergen got a
3,
10.
4,
It's at the
5.
very
Oh,
top.
Aark, who is down. So
Awesome.
Bergen. Y'all rolled very well on this. Y'all may. This might work out a bit more in your favor than I was hoping.
But better. God.
Excellent. 2 nat 20s, by the way. Excellent. Like, I mean, that's a fucking 1 in 400 chance right there.
Yeah, I can't wait for the nat ones that follow.
You right
Yeah,
there.
I know.
So, all of you, excuse me, Gulbrand and Z, you both get to choose. Oh, no, you have nat 20s. You get a full turn. You get an action, reaction, and bonus action in this descent. Everyone else, you get to pick one action, reaction, or bonus action. One of the 3. So you don't get to make multiple moves, but. Actually, Davos, I take that back. You get to pick 2 of those because you got a 20.
It was a dirty 20. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
you didn't get to pick all
Okay.
3. The nat 20 gets all 3. Dirty 20
Alright.
gets 2.
Okay.
With that, my dudes, Gulbrand, Z, as the ship begins this free fall and you see your friends hurtling toward the city, what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm gonna summon my Spirit of the Wind as my mount, and I'm actually gonna tell it to go catch Bergen because he's right beside me.
Catch
Or at least he
Bergen.
was.
Excellent. All right, so keep that in mind that Bergen is safe for the wind, or saved by the wind. You still have, I think that's an action to do, or is that a bonus action to do?
I think it's an action.
Okay. You still have a bonus action reaction if you would like it. You can hold on to it to see what other people do, but you have that to use at your discretion.
I think I actually will hold on to that just to see how some other turns play out.
Absolutely. I will remind you guys that you do also have your two compatriots, Osvius and Gideon, who are a part of this free fall. Let me minimize that. Gulbrand, what do you do with your time?
Oh boy. So can I move at all, or we are falling, right?
You are falling. You can use one of your actions to sort of manipulate your movement and try to get closer to somebody if you would like. Since you, all of you were flung off the bottom of the ship, except for these three who were in the initial blast, who are a little further away, but with an action or bonus action, you could get to them.
Action or bonus action. Could I get to the Horned Dwarf for a bonus action?
You could. You still have your action reaction.
Well, I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with Aark, because we got to get Aark faced up. Oh boy.
I could get him from a distance. I don't know if it's too meta or not, but
I mean, I know you have healing word and stuff.
And you know that,
how much
you know
action
that
economy
Pandora
would it
has
be
Featherball.
Yeah, but he needs to be
up.
He needs to be alive for that to happen. Like, he needs to be up, I think. Raw.
I mean,
well,
technically, a dead creature is an object. He is making death saving throws. He's not dead. He is still a creature. Because, you know, healing spells target a creature, so, you know.
Alright, so my last question is if I can cast a spell that I don't have prepared. If not, I think I know what I'm going to do.
Spell you don't have prepared.
Yeah.
At
Unless
some
you wanna
point, I'm
go
going to have to
10
start
minutes.
being a little bit of a tight ass on this, but I'll allow
It's
it this
fine.
time.
I know it's fine, it's up to you. I can use Cure Wounds, it's just not prepared.
I will allow you to do what you wish.
I think you should follow your heart.
I mean,
Part
I
of the
know what,
cards.
I know
man.
what Gulbrand
So,
wants to do.
I feel like Bergen could do that. She's got Featherfall. I can get
Gulbrand wants to
Gideon.
grapple a dwarf.
Yeah, go grapple that Freddy Two Toes or
Okay.
whatever.
is it at all possible I can hand Aark to someone so that he's not just free falling?
Handing him, you leave him close to the group. You gather that with the actions they will make, they could get a hold of him.
Okay. Alright, well, I guess I will let go of Aark and use my bonus action to get to Armand and my action to try to grapple him. Since I am raging.
To Amhergo?
Amhergo, yes, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I hate to do the AA thing to you, but to be fair, I didn't name
That's fine.
Armand Hammer.
It's fine.
Yeah, that was Arcanarch with another A.
Oh, yeah, exactly. All right.
Always avoid alliterations, man.
You guys get this. You guys get, as the initial shock of the impact fades, and you start to get an appreciation for your surroundings in this plummet that you are making down to the floor. You watch as Gulbrand narrows into a dive and swings toward Amhergo and begins to go to grapple him. And he rushes toward him, hands extended, and right before he makes impact, Gulbrand, you halt. There is a resistance against you going any closer, and you see, just as you approach, Amhergo's eyes just flicker open as he finally gains some semblance of cognition, and he looks terrified until that moment that you freeze before him, and his fear shifts to surprise. And then he smiles. He goes, well. I know every demon has his pound of flesh, but seems like you've purchased more than a pound, haven't you? No one who has purchased slaves from my market may lay a hand on me. And you think back to earlier in the fight. You swung at him twice. Neither one made contact, but he is protected against anyone who has participated in this most vile and heinous act that is purchasing a person. You still have your reaction.
Damn.
You can use this.
Wow. What a
Even
tease.
though
I didn't buy
I
nobody.
technically validated that purchase.
What? Freeing
though
them
I
doesn't. It
technically
doesn't matter what
validated
you bought them for. If you gave coin for an Iron
Yeah.
Ring slave, he is protected from you.
Can I ask you a question while he's pondering?
Sure.
What is in this? So in this setting,
Mhm.
what would a reaction be?
So,
You-
there are certain spells and abilities that are reactions. If you go to your character sheet, there
Yeah.
should be an action tab, bonus action, reaction. A reaction is just something that can be done very quickly. Some of them are shield spells, like, something to protect yourself. Some of them are when you're hit, you can use your reaction to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Um,
my feather fall is technically one reaction.
Reaction.
Correct.
Okay.
And so-
I just wanted to clarify that we weren't like doing anything special around that. It was just a standard whatever is classified as a reaction is a reaction.
Exactly.
I'll use
Um,
my reaction to make a black hole and pull him as close to as many of my friends as possible.
Excellent. As Gulbrand rushes to a halt and the Horned Dwarf smiles at him, you watch as Gulbrand's frustration builds up and he throws out his hand, and beneath you guys a rift opens and pulls you guys toward the rest of the group. I'll say that since Pandora is near and Asvius are near this, that they will likewise be brought a little closer to the group as you guys make your descent. With that, I think that was all three of yours, right, Gulbrand?
Yeah.
Z, I think you still have your bonus action and your reaction. Just let me know when you want to use those.
Okay, and just to, I guess, state for the room, what I would plan on doing, if nothing else comes about, is when we're about anybody who's close enough to me, when we're pretty darn close to impacting the ground, if it comes to that, I'm actually going to cast Whirlwind as a bonus action directly at the ground below us, because I feel like the damage that might do is lesser than the fall damage itself, to try and soften the blow. That's sort of my plan with that, if I'm allowed.
I will tell you this. The Whirlwind ability is sort of on the understanding that the spirit is within you to sort of
Okay.
let out. So with you sending it out, because technically it's the spirit's ability, like it's the thing that that type of creature gets to do innately.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'll allow that, but I'll think on that before we get to the bottom.
Okay. In that
with
case,
that-
good luck for everybody else.
Yeah, good luck, everybody else. All right, Davos, what do you got, dog?
As a bonus action, can I go grab Gideon?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
He is, what is that, 15 feet?
Look at that good kid.
So I'm like,
Yeah, the
Here,
spacing is a
swimming.
little. Yeah, exactly.
and I
I'll
grab
even-
him.
Okay, what do you want to do with your action or reaction? Because you do get one more.
I am going to cast Dimension Door.
Oh.
And me and Gideon, I'm assuming we're no more than 500 feet above.
Correct, yes. And I'll even say, we'll go to the map for this real quick. Because there are a few different places you could go. Within 500 feet, I don't think you could get all the way to the docks, but you could get close to them. You could try to get, you know that this, while you were falling, and that is an initial threat in itself, you know that there is the ship and the pillar above you that are also falling. And that are...
I would, if I can judge a distance away where we'll be far enough away from that, but still close enough to be around them when they fall and
I'd
splat.
say throw your token down right about here. We'll say that that's enough of a distance to where you're not going to be in the initial crash, but you're close enough to race there if you need to. All right, so your bonus action, you have that. Your action, you use Dimension Door. Fantastic.
Well, you said bonus action was me moving.
Is that what I said? Bonus action, action? Or did I say reaction?
No, right. Well, I thought you said I still had the bonus action, but no, I don't.
No, yeah, you've
'Cause I
used
had
you've
to
used
move.
two of
Right,
the
right.
yeah, so
Right.
you're good. Excellent. So you're down on the ground. Gideon is down on the ground as we round to Pandora.
All right, so those two are taken care of. Bergen is accounted for. So how many are left? We've got.
Exactly 5, which is what your feather fall can do.
Does that include Armand's corpse, which I'm trying
That
to
does not.
desperately? I'm trying to desperately like scrap together that one
Mm-hmm.
because I have plans for his corpse.
Plans for his corpse. That sounds sexy.
I'm gonna put it in my litter box.
I think gross. I think that So you only get one, right? Action, reaction, or bonus action?
Yeah, because I only rolled a 19.
Yeah. So close.
Only a
Yeah.
19.
So with that, your reaction... Yeah, only a 19. Your reaction would be to cast the Featherfall. Do you want to
Which
use
is
your 5
definitely-
living targets, or do you want to leave one of them off and try to get Armand in that mix?
Okay, so who are our living targets? I need Gully and
So
Aark, right?
Z, Gulbrand, Pandora... Oh, Aark, and Osvius. Yeah, that's 5.
Okay, so I'm definitely keeping our party because I know them, like, intimately, especially, like, Aark. Aark's, like, her
Oh,
number
yeah.
one.
Yeah, but
You
that's
know.
your first little pop.
Yeah, so Aark, Gully, Z... Yeah, so, but I am gonna try and catch Armand in it, too, because I need his corpse for, nefarious blame gaming purposes.
So you're gonna have to pick somebody to Z, Gully, Pandora,
Let me.
Osvius, Aark. No, yeah, you've got you need to, if you're gonna get Armand, you need to drop one of those 5.
Yeah, I'll drop Osvius.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask a question because I'm trying to like play a little bit funny. I do have a bonus action I can use, a telekinetic shove. Could I try to shove his corpse before we make impact in such a way that it would sort of like, instead of straight splat, would just sort of like adjust his trajectory?
I don't think it would remove his downward momentum. I think it would just add a sideways momentum. That's a good bit of force falling from that height.
Yeah.
Oh, kitty.
Boots.
Oh, look at its little white feeties.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Chelsea Cat.
I would say there might be a case to be argued, like if you're going down and you decide to push him up, that eliminates a lot of his momentum before he comes back down. You could do it to be non-lethal, but not to relocate him in that case.
Yeah, my main goal was just to, because if it's a corpse we're worried about, like, I don't
That
care.
it doesn't matter if he takes any damage.
Yeah, like,
as
I don't
long as
care if
he's
he
not
hits the
in
ground
combat.
kind of hard. I just don't want him to disintegrate. So if I can use a telekinetic shove to sort of
Okay.
just bump
Yeah.
him right before
Yeah,
he
and then
hits
I
the
can
ground.
catch the living people.
Also,
So-
if you do it higher up in the air, that momentum would carry over as he falls, so that would give him a bit more drift if you wanted to get him further away from the collapse, quote-unquote, but I'll leave that up to you.
My main goal is just to make sure that he doesn't turn into a pile of goo at the bottom,
Yeah.
so that she can feel better about getting the people that are alive to the ground.
There you
That's
go.
fair.
That's a fair trade.
All right, so you're going to use your bonus action to make Armand not splat.
Right, that's the goal. Telekinetic shove, it just to try and just barely bump his momentum.
That makes sense. Okay, so you still have a reaction if when you find a moment you want to use it. We just did Pandora. The next in line was Amhergo. He got a 16.
Oops, I clicked it twice.
Gulbrand, you pull him towards you with that gravitational pull. And you see him, again, his eyes growing a little wide, before he clenches his fists, and one of his rings illuminates, and he stops his fall, flying, and drifts out of the way of the oncoming debris. That was the only action he can make, so we go to Bergen, who rolled a 10?
Yeah.
You only get a reaction with that. Just because you are just falling through the air, ass over tea kettle, not quite sure which way is up, and trying to
Healing word.
get a reaction. Healing word's a bonus action.
Oh, just a reaction?
Just a reaction, yeah.
Oh,
Jeez.
fuck.
Because so a round is 6 seconds. By the numbers, this fall is like 4. Like it's not even a full round. And then the time it takes you guys to sort of get your bearings straight, all of this is happening in literal seconds.
I thought that Z summoned his whirlwind underneath Berg.
Yeah.
Does that mean he's still falling?
But I don't know
Did?
if that fudges what you're doing or not, but my goal was to save Bergen from the impact.
So Bergen is saved from the impact. That does not stop everything else from coming down. So he has a reaction to react before the crash, so to speak. Or before you guys hit the ground. And then there's an even smaller window of time before everything else hits the ground.
Those I have inspiration. I don't know if I really have that.
I think you do. We gave inspiration at the in the fight with Harshnag. So if you don't think you've used it since then, you probably still have it.
I mean, I know I have it. I don't know if you guys used it during that one session that I wasn't there for.
I don't think we would
so.
have used your
Yeah.
inspiration.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that was right.
Can I use it for that?
For your roll? For your deck save?
Yeah.
I'll allow it, yeah.
Yeah.
Make another deck save.
Okay.
Now, I will, the way that this is worded, I think you have to take the new roll. Devin?
Take-
Will you
I
check
see.
that? Will you check inspiration
I
for
think
me?
so.
If it's a choice or if you have to take it?
I'll go.
So if you roll
I mean,
less than a
can't get
10,
much worse.
might not even
Right.
get that. But, well, if you roll less than a 10, you won't get
Yeah,
your reaction
okay.
at all.
I don't even know if
You're in the
can
same
do
tier,
anything.
unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So it's still
okay.
the reaction.
It's okay.
But a solid,
gotcha.
opportunity to use it. So I can totally get it.
Reaction, does that count for movement? Can I move it all?
Since you have the Spirit of the Whirlwind beneath you, I would argue that you could have some movement of control. Technically, the Spirit of the Wind is a large creature, so it can only hold one person. It can't support two, rules as written. So just keep that in mind.
Let's see. Shit, that ruins everything. I thought I had it the choice of a action, reaction, or bonus,
Or bonus action. No, to have a
Yeah.
choice of one, you had to have above a 15. I'm sorry.
Damn.
My bad, y'all. I just goofed big time.
You didn't goof, dude.
Um,
You didn't goof, you
They
just
rolled
rolled
ridiculously
shitty.
well. You did nothing wrong, okay?
well, I gave bad advice. I told somebody not to do something because I could do something else that I couldn't do. But
I mean, I would argue if it's only been 6 seconds, he still gets to roll a death save, and then he's still alive.
You know, if he takes damage, that's technically 2 fails, and the impact itself would be damage. Now, he's featherfalled, so he won't take damage from that. But if anything hits him on the way down, that's a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cast Shield of Faith on him for a reaction.
Shield of Faith, okay. Who are you
Shield of
casting it
Faith.
on?
Oh, Aark.
Aark?
Sorry.
Okay. I'm gonna say, okay, and he won't take, okay. Let me make a note of that. Aark, Shield of Faith. Okay. With that, we come to Osvius and Gideon, who both rolled a 2. They were too stunned by the blast to make any actions during this. Now, on their saves earlier, Osvius rolled very poorly. He rolled a nat 1 on the blast. He took a healthy chunk of damage. Gideon,
He's on the ground with Davos.
He's on the ground
Yeah,
with
he got
Davos.
portaled.
Since he's not, I'll say he's gonna look up, see that everyone is stopping except for Osvius.
No, I
He's-
call it Osvius because.
I thought you said no Osvius because you wanted to get.
But Z is saving Armand from obliteration.
Okay, never mind. Then we're good.
I got
Okay.
everybody.
In that case, all of you, with your own speeds, come to the ground. In a bit of a clamber. You don't necessarily make a clean landing, but you don't rough yourselves up. There is seconds to react as all of this is coming down on you. I need everyone again to make a dex save for me.
Oh, fuck, man.
Even me?
Is this something
I
I
think
can
I got
see?
the zoomies.
Yes, yeah.
You said
Oh, damn.
Davos. Davos
Oh,
too?
Used
jeez.
it all on the
Damn.
offset, man.
Yeah.
All right. Barbara passes. Davos passes, and that's it. Okay. Oh, let me roll for the boys. Oh well, Davos, you're actually safe, as is Gideon, because you moved them far enough away. Okay, he rolled a 9, so that does not bode well for him. So for those who passed, y'all make it out without taking any damage. For the rest of you,
Take a piano to the face.
oh, you wish it was a piano. This is a whole fuck. Oh, so I'm rolling 6s, and I got 2 6s out of the first 3. So hang on. Okay, so
We need
everyone
to
who failed
concession.
needs to take 22 points of bludgeoning damage. Pandora with over a 20, I will say you could bring along Aark with you to ensure he doesn't take that.
He has a shield, though, doesn't he?
He has a shield which
Uh,
increases his AC. I would say it would
yeah.
let him take less damage, but I'm giving you a way to get him out without taking any. Because no matter how much damage he takes, it's still 2 fails. Which is kind of
Right,
weird when you think
right.
about it. If a
Okay.
bunny bites you, it's 2 fails.
Yeah, I only got 3.
Oh, it's got these sharp teeth.
So, yeah, I can't do anything else but save him, though, right? Like, I don't have any other actions I can do.
No, not at this juncture. Because this, again, you guys... So the only reason that this isn't falling at the exact rate as you is because as the ship fell, you guys were flung off the end before it shattered and then began to rain down behind you. So there's not a full round in between. It's more of just a couple of seconds. From the time that the ship explodes to the time everything's on the ground is about that 6-second period. And
I wasn't sure because my bow also has like a reverse gravity. I'm like, if I could catch the debris, but if I only have time to save Aark, that's what I'm going to do.
With a 23, I will let you make...
She does have cat-like reflexes.
I will let you make an attack. Well, I guess it's not an attack, though. Is it an action to use reverse gravity?
It says, hold on, you may expend 3 charges as an action. As an action.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Roll any die you want, and roll an even number.
Like a D20?
Yeah, any dice you want.
Fuck yeah!
All the times to roll a nat goddamn 20. You guys watch as you all hit the ground and you all brace for the impact. Davos hits the ground fucking running. He's like, nope. Him and Gideon are safely out of the bounds. The rest of you watch as the pillar, the ship, all of this begins hurtling down on you. And Pandora rises up and grips her bow tightly, and all the amethyst jewels on it begin to glow this pink light. And this sort of pulse wave emits out from her. And it blasts back all these stones and dust, which then begin to drift upward. And these immense objects hurtling toward the ground slow before they bounce back and begin to lift up. Fantastic, Pandora. I was not going to allow you to do the feather fall and that, but for a nat fucking 20, I'll let you, goddamn. So, excellent. You guys are not in any immediate danger. This is not, this thing is not a permanent reverse gravity. I think it's a minute, so stuff will continue fucking up in here a second. You notice, actually, that you've provided the people around time to flee as well. Because again, underneath this ship, there were slums and cities and inns and taverns and businesses, and people are scattering like roaches trying to get away from what is now a rising tower of wood and stone.
And also hopefully a riot starting.
Can't tell from where you are now.
Yeah, that should be the signal.
Yeah.
Obviously that's the signal, guys.
What one of the slaves in the market, like, asking Pandora as he's picking her cuffs, what's the signal? And she's like, you'll know.
Can I
use my reaction to just yell down with the authorities and then scatter?
Yo, come whoa.
I don't know if we can see Armand, or not Armand.
Amhergo?
Amhergo, yeah.
He was in that mixture of debris. He did have fly on him. Tell you what, make a perception check, Devin, and I'll allow one other person to make a perception check.
So, anybody with range, because I just want to chuck a fucking guiding bolt at him.
Well, I already wasted my nat 20.
He didn't, he didn't roll great, but he rolled better than an 11. He didn't roll better than a 21. You do see Amhergo about 40 feet up. The wood is drifting up and around, and you see him sort of scowl down at you.
Can I chuck a guiding bolt at him?
I was gonna say, so is he not into gravity?
He is not in even if he was, he has a fly spell, so he could, manipulate it as normal, but a 25 certainly hits. You chuck the guiding bolt at him, and again, as the burst of, greenish energy, purple energy? I forgot what Gulbrand has.
I think his look like comets, the guiding bolts.
Comet, starlight, that's right.
Yeah.
His guiding, this burst of sunlight and starlight, streaming different colors, streaks forward toward Amhergo, and just before it makes contact, burst around him as if a dome of protection were around him. He sneers at you and swirls his hand as storm clouds begin to build up overhead. Gulbrand?
I'm running to lay my hands on Aark.
Does a 16 hit you?
Me?
Does that meet?
Me?
I think that meets. Gulbrand, excuse me.
Yes, that hits.
Okay. I need to pull up this spell real quick.
God, Gully, we pick a fight.
For the record, he's
Good
casting Call Lightning, which is a concentration spell, as you could probably guess it.
It's not fun. Okay.
Oh yeah. I need you to take 17 halved to 8 points of
actually not raging
lightning
anymore,
damage.
'cause I cast a spell.
Oh, then in that case you can cast spells, you just can't concentrate on spells. Yeah.
Can't cast spells while I'm raging.
Can't cast? Okay. In that case, you do take the, what did I just say, 17 points of damage?
Right.
So, you do take the 17 lightning damage. We are not in initiative, but he is seeming to want to pursue, and you are still underneath these storm clouds. He seems to have
We still
measured
need
up
to
between
move?
where you are
Yeah.
and where the ship is. You guys can try to dash to get to the ship quickly. You can, what do you do in this moment to try to alleviate this? We'll let everybody get a round, so action bonus action.
I lay on the ground completely still.
We'll start with that one. Anybody?
I
Like I said,
will.
I was gonna run and use lay on hands on Aark.
Lay your hands
Bergen,
on
if
his
you
daddy.
wanna.
Oh yeah, do
Jesus.
that.
If you wanna attack Bergen, I can heal.
I was gonna say I could hit a bunch of people because I don't know how bad Osvius and fucking Gideon
I mean,
are.
Osvius
could
is
use some
alive,
heal.
but he's
Okay.
maybe not critical, but he's pretty bloodied. He's looking pretty roughed up.
Gulbrand
Alright.
looks rougher than
What-
you're used to seeing him.
Let me pop some heals first, and then if you will, I guess go from there.
You
I
can
want to do
probably-
my. Yeah, I could get a pretty big bang for like one shot here.
I was gonna say,
so
Brandon, you might could chuck a guiding bolt. I don't know how low.
I
it is,
mean-
but-
He just blocked yours, right?
but it was because Gulbrand bought the slave. I don't think it applies to all of us.
I don't know if
Okay.
Davos would know that at the moment, though. If we're being
I don't know if I would have
Completely
seen
literal.
it either way.
well, even if you saw the effect of it, he told Gulbrand that while Gulbrand rushed him.
Oh,
You two
right.
were sort of off by yourselves when that had happened. So no one else knows exactly why your magic isn't working against him. So bear that.
so
in
you say
mind.
I get a action and a bonus action?
Correct, sir. Yes, sir.
Fuck yeah! All right. Action, channel divinity, preserve life. I want to give 25 of that to Aark, 15 to Osvius, and 15 to Gideon.
Gideon's not too bad. He's over half. If that helps
then
you.
Davos, I don't know how much of that you can take, but
All of it. 15?
yeah, up to half of your health.
All
Yeah,
of it.
it's
Okay.
yeah. I can still take all of it.
Point total.
I'm still not to half.
All right, and then bonus action. Where it be?
What is he at now?
All right. Yeah, mass healing word.
Hells yeah.
Is that to
That's not
spell?
one.
Oh no, because one of those is your feet. You're okay.
Yeah. Love this combo.
No, for real. Fucking life clerics, man.
Well, that wasn't much, but something.
Hey, that's better than nothing, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
So, everyone take 10 points of healing, including those who took healing previously.
What was the previous deal for me?
25.
Yeah, so you should have 35 hit points total. And Aark, you come to, for you, it's probably the most jarring. You went from right in his face to unconscious to waking up on the ground and seeing what you think is a bunch of shit falling towards you and realize it's actually falling away from you up toward the ceiling. I imagine it's very disorienting. Got like a little bit of vertigo going on.
It's like when
all right.
somebody falls asleep in the car and a tow truck is hauling an 18-wheeler facing the wrong way.
Yeah,
Just elbow him.
fuck with him.
Oh,
All right.
There was a massive bomb, a flock of seagulls, and that's
Oh,
about it.
God. With that, my dudes, what are the rest of you doing? Still got actions and bonus actions.
we gotta skit, man. Like, this ain't gonna last forever.
No, yeah. Well, and keep in mind, there's a body around that you either need to grab or grab shit off of.
Yeah, no, I want to get Armand because we're blaming all of this on him.
Okay.
Oh.
I'll say for an action, you could drag him with you. Yeah.
With
if you
my
want to take his
zoomies.
physical corpse. Yeah. What's your zoomies? And you used that earlier, I think, on the deck, because I remember you talking about it last session. Is it a one-a-day thing?
No, I don't think I did it because I slid down.
You didn't need the you didn't need the extra movement speed. You're right.
I didn't need to, but my feline agility is on my turn. I can double it unless I have already moved. I can't use it again until I move 0 feet on one of my turns. So I can still double.
I would say I'll say you're good for that. Yeah.
Yeah,
so you double your speed because you're dragging somebody. You move half speed anyway, so you're moving at the pace of the rest of the group. But you have Armand with you. You still have a bonus action.
I honestly can't think of anything else to do because my number one goal, I see Aark get up, which I'm not shocked because, he's been through worse.
Yeah.
Just getting the fuck out of here with this corpse. That's my goal.
Okay. So, does that sound like, are y'all down? Are we bailing out of here?
I mean,
I'm not
unless
sure
y'all
we're
want to
gonna
be
get here.
crushed.
That seems to be the consensus.
We don't have to split because again, I'm blaming all of this on Armand. But I do want to get out of the path of the debris because the gravity thing's not gonna last forever.
Yeah, I imagine I'm also trying to get the way out of the debris, but if I also imagine if I noticed Gulbrand hesitating because he's wanting to square up on the fucking dwarf, that Bergen would hesitate and try to stick by his side for that fight.
I'm in safe range away, so I'm gonna shoot my shot.
Okay, that's good. I'm actually thinking about trying to hide us. I can do Pass Without a Trace, or I can do Fog Cloud. And, they can see where the cloud is, but the idea is he has disadvantage if he can't see us. Anything that can't see us should have disadvantage. So we could kind of run in the Fog Cloud to escape if we wanted to. Wouldn't hide our location, but
That
make
sounds
us
good
harder.
though.
Can I ask a question about the sort of where we would be running to or from, right? Are we in an open cavernous area? Is it incredibly open? Is there narrow passages?
No. So you are actually within the slums of the city itself. Most of the buildings that have been built within the stalagmites are the poorer dwellings. Are on the lowest levels. They're on the seafront, to where when the cavern floods, these are the first houses to go underwater. So you think of it like you're in a slummy area of town. You're not exactly wide open spaces. There's alleyways and streets. You guys know roughly which direction the dock is. Since we're doing Theater of the Mind, the implied thing is that you're all using your movement to get out of the area of effect and moving towards the ship.
Okay.
So, sounds like y'all are really in favor of getting hidden, so I will use probably Fog Cloud to make us harder to hit. I'm not sure we're going to be able to hide now, and maybe we can just GTFO.
Okay. Fog wreaths around your group as you guys begin to make your way that way. Who has not used their action or bonus action? Davos, what you got?
What is it called? Guiding Bolt. Third
Yeah,
level.
pop him. He's
Mr. Rings.
hurting. I mean,
Ew, miss.
what'd you get? Oh, a 9. I'm sorry, my dude. Yeah, unfortunately, that does not make purchase. Okay, you still have a bonus action.
What's the range on this thing?
Oh,
The
sword.
yeah, that's 50 foot, but I was looking at Light of Lathander. It's
Oh, I think it's 20 or 15.
yeah, something like that.
But he's too far away
no.
for that. Also, I wanted to say this earlier. Earlier, you joked you were swimming through the air. I like to think you start doing that and you're not making much progress, and then your rapier kind of floats up on its own in front of you. And you're like, oh yeah, and you grab the hilt and it pulls you forward. Not enough to keep you afloat, but gets you a little directional pull. All right, Z, do you still have action or bonus action?
Yeah, I haven't used either one. How far away is he from me?
We're gonna say about 50 to 60-ish feet, because he is both up and further back. He's also on the other side of this bit of debris. Yeah, about 50, 60 feet.
Okay.
Gulbrand uses his bonus action to check a healing potion.
Look. Okay, go ahead and roll that, mark it off the bag, and add your hit points.
Already done.
I don't know. I think if we're running, I think I just want to sling a fireball back at him.
Fireball?
Yes.
Okay. Because you're casting well, with the anti-gravity, most of that stuff would be up far enough. Yeah. Go ahead. He has to make a dex save.
Yes.
Go ahead and roll damage. His dex ain't great. What's he have to beat?
16.
16? Okay. So I'm going to pop this in 26. Huh. Okay, sorry. So I'm going to roll this in chat. He has a +2 to dex, so he has to beat a 14. Does not have great odds. He fails. He takes all 23, or he takes the full brunt of that. But you watch. You guys couldn't see it earlier with the initial blast. The flames hit him, and he does take damage, yes. But it is not as impactful as you would have hoped. You are called back to the fact that he was using a fire-based suicide bomb, for lack of a better term. And the fact that somebody earlier had hit him with, Davos had hit him with holy magic, and because he was a fiend, was able to do extra magic. That may not have been communicated on a verbal level, but meta-wise, fiends have resistance to fire damage. So he is taking half of that 23, taking 12, but he is taking damage, and he looks pretty worse for wear. He's getting pretty close to the critical point. Gulbrand, when you threw your first guiding bolt, was that your action during this round, or was that your action falling? No, your action falling was to grab him. Does anybody have a bonus action or action left?
I think I just did my zoomy. I don't think I did anything else.
Okay, so you have those two. Action, bonus action. What do you wish to do with them?
Well, my Firefox froze, so there's that.
Oh, no.
But I am carrying a corpse, so I don't know if I can technically shoot.
You might want to take this round to loot his body so that we can just...
You could do
I'm
that.
not looting him, though. I'm incriminating him, so I need his corpse.
Okay.
Well, as you're dragging him along, you see his face is unrecognizable.
But his
no
coat's
hair.
still,
His coat's still intact, and it has his ship's insignia on it. Oh! Actually, you watch as he is certainly dead. The gold insignia on his back begins to fade.
Oh.
And I'll give you a bit of meta knowledge. This item lets you put your the insignia of your ship on the back of it, as part of its attunement process. Since he is dead, he is no longer attuned to the item. Even the color of the coat changes, because it gives you that customization option. Now, he still has identifiers, like his sword and his anchor are recognizable enough, but you're going to have a hard time proving that this is anyone in particular.
I'm going to plant stuff on him, because I have, some thieves jargon and shit. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Okay. So you can use your action to dash to try to get, further up, since you can... already used your feline agility once. This will help you keep up with the party as you go down.
Yeah, definitely, doing that. Because
Okay.
I don't want to be crushed.
No, fair enough. Amhergo looks down at you guys and is feeling it. And he looks up at the debris that's floating up. And he begins to rush towards you. He's already used his action to use the call lightning, but you see he is actually shouting something in Undercommon. I don't think any of you speak that, but you watch as the four skulls, who have been sort of flying about trying to assess where you are in the wreckage that's floating, now realize that you are on the ground and begin to race towards you. You know that these skulls have fireball. You know that they can do some fucking damage, and you see more above the city approaching. As we enter this second turn, you guys are approaching the docks. You can see the West Wind Wyvern. You see the crew getting ready, pulling up anchor, getting set. You have a round before you get there. What do you guys choose to do with it? Action, bonus action. We'll start with Davos.
How close are the skulls?
The skulls are fairly close. They're probably getting in that 30-foot range. And you can see
And
the
we're
green flame
hidden?
building up on them. You're in a fog cloud. They have disadvantage to hit, but AoE doesn't get AoE doesn't count for not being able to see things.
Right.
It doesn't affect your save at all.
I'm not sure we're gonna kill all of them though. Like we just need to run from them. If you're gonna fight something, I'll think Amhergo may be the best. If we can just, I don't know. Even if we drop him, he may not die. So maybe we should just GTFO. But
I mean, I can run in.
Ugh.
I'm not ready.
Would somebody else like to go while Davos thinks on it?
We're close to the docks, right?
Yes, sir.
It's a narrowish
I didn't mean to do that.
passage. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know like the height difference if he would have to come down through anything to get to us, but I assume it's open, so like you can sort of go up around. If he's 50 feet away in the sky, then I assume it's essentially it's what I see on the map, right? It's just alleyways, but like tall buildings. There's a lot of open space above us.
Yeah, he's still close to the pillars themselves. Like he's not quite right over you guys, but he's still a little bit where you guys have moved past. But yeah, still about 60-ish feet away and probably about 40, 50 feet in the air.
Rat at all. That's what I have to say.
Drat.
I am gonna use slow. It's my turn.
Very okay. That's a wisdom check.
Yeah, 14 for how many ever up to 6 within a 40-foot cube there are.
14 save. Okay.
Yeah, 14 wisdom save. 40-foot cube.
Cube is nice. Okay, so I'll roll Amhergo's first. He gets a wisdom save. He gets a +5. So you said 14 or 14? Just to beat a 9. Oh, and one. Now the 4 skulls that are around him, what do they get for wisdom? Probably not nearly as much. Wisdom save. They don't have proficiency in the saves, so they don't get to add anything to this.
Good.
Good indeed. Not one of them passes. The rest do not. You watch as 3 of the skulls slow, but Amhergo and one of the skulls are still pursuing. In fact, since he's still pursuing, and we're in this middle round, I think his Call Lightning, I think he actually gets to use as a bonus action now, because he's already conjured it. Let me pull that up.
Emphasis on the bonus.
well, and I think Fireball and Call Lightning, I hope to God, say point you can see.
That's fair, yeah. Each creature within 5 points of that point must make a dexterity saving throw. It's a dex save. I will allow some fuckery in the fact that you guys are covered, so he doesn't know exactly where he's pointing.
Well,
but it's his action to do that, and he doesn't want to do that. He's actually... you watch as he clenches his other fist, and again, a dim gray glow as an orb of purple light wreathes around him. I don't think any of you know what this spell is, but he has some type of barrier up around him. He can't do anything with his bonus action. He is going to stay about 60 feet up and about maybe drift back to 30 feet back, trying to guide from... or actually, now that he has the dome up, no, he will close the gap. He's going to get within 30 feet of you guys. Again, diagonally away off the ground, but about 30 feet. Anyone else bonus action or action before you guys make it to the ship? There's still 1 skull with him that's pursuing.
Man, there's so many things I could try, but so is there any way that Gulbrand can ascertain if he can break the spell that prevents him from hurting him? And or if it's only damage or only like there's a couple of things that I could do and I'm not sure that
you can make either an Arcana. I mean, I'm gonna say Arcana, actually.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair.
Unfortunately, no, you're not sure what the fuck this is. It doesn't sound like any type of magic you've encountered before.
I'm gonna action
magic.
shooty mace.
Sure, fire away. 26. You're firing at Amhergo or at the skull?
Amhergo.
Okay. You blast off this wave of energy, and as it comes into contact with the dome, I'm just going to double check one quick thing to make sure that radiant damage isn't an exception. Now, as you're, oh. Interesting. It protects against spells, but this isn't a spell. He's gonna take that 10 fucking damage. And is quite shocked to take this radiant burst of energy to the chest. You guys are getting closer to the ship. I'm gonna say last call for any actions, bonus actions.
Bonus action, I'm just gonna pop off another, fucking... Boop.
Mace?
Heals.
Oh, he is
Yes.
perfect.
Yeah.
All right, 15 to everybody.
Thank God. And then slide
Fantastic.
Pandora reveres Bergen.
Same. That's why we all revere Bergen.
We're gonna have to close down the Church of Helm and make up the Church of Bergen.
Yeah, so Gulbrand
Alright.
will use his action to throw a guiding bolt at the skull.
Okay, do that. I'm gonna say it was your bonus action to make that check earlier. 12 does not hit. Oh. No, that does not hit the skull. Just short. All right.
Okay, so
Last chance.
does Aark want to carry Armand so I can shoot?
I can do that.
Hoist him, me mateys.
Hoist him.
Is there advantage
I
to
like use a
ranged
bonus
attacks
action and
while
gain some
hidden?
HP.
Technically, yes. Excellent point, Brandon. Do you hear that, Barbara?
What? No.
You have advantage because you are technically stealthed. I will make you make a stealth check for that, and he's going to make a contested thing, but you get to make it with advantage because you are in the fog cloud.
Okay.
So roll one more time stealth.
One more time stealth. Okay. Hell yeah.
He can't see you with a 30. So, well, if he gets a nat 20, technically anything is possible. Okay, not a nat 20. You're good.
Yeah.
So,
There we go.
Barb, fire off 2 shots.
2 shots. Two.
Okay,
Oh.
the 19 hits, does a healthy chunk of damage, and you watch as it strikes him.
Does she
That,
get sneak attack?
She does.
Yeah.
Now the arrow hits him, and the dome rattles a bit. It doesn't flicker out.
Rattle
He
'em, boys.
Oh, I guess he can.
But he does begin to plummet down. Now, granted, he was only 30 feet up.
Now, also, is there
Yeah.
any debris that's gonna fall now that I'm, I assume that spell's probably over, right?
Well, that's a minute, so it's 10 rounds, so it's still up in the air for now.
Okay.
You could cancel it at any time. He is
Well, if
just on the other side of the pillars, where he's
So
not
are
in that
we-
immediate range, but he is in the vicinity.
If he's in the vicinity and we're out of the vicinity, if I drop it, he could potentially get hit by something, right?
Potentially, yeah. He would have to make a save. Since he's out of the radius, it would be with advantage, but still. But you watch as the dome remains, and yet he does begin to plummet. He takes a bit of damage on impact, and he slumps a bit. He doesn't seem to get back up.
Good.
The 3 Sluethe skulls are not far behind him. That 4th skull is going to send off a fireball. How big is that radius of the fog?
Well, you see, and you can go back and look. I cast it at 2nd level. So
Thank you.
it is. Let me double check that for you. A 40-foot radius spear.
And I don't know if so I haven't taken my action yet. Just out of curiosity, if I would get to go before they do after seeing this happen, or if this is like sort of all fluid.
Yeah, it's sort of like as we're saying it, that's the sequence it's popping out in. So because the area of that is so big, everyone roll 2 d20s, just 2 flat d20s. If both of your results are above a 12, you avoid it completely.
Wow.
Devin? No, Devin got an 11. Oh, okay, so no one completely avoids it. In that regard, actually no, if one is above a 12. So Devin passes, Z passes, Davos passes, Spencer passes, Barbara fails, Aark passes. So Barbara, you're gonna make this check normally, and then give me 1 second. Z, yes. Devin, no. Brandon, no. Or, no, 10, yes. Spencer, yes. So Barbara, Spencer, Davos, and Z make a dex save. Everyone make it at advantage except for Pandora.
Dicks.
Okay, so everybody but Pandora passed.
Damn.
So Pandora, I
really
need...
fucked that corpse and fucked everything else up.
So Pandora, 33, I need you to take 16 points of fire damage. Everyone else just takes 8, or of those 4 that I just made roll.
Well, damn, I'm really glad Bergen healed me up. Shit.
Oh yeah, y'all they're coming for you, and there's 3 more skulls approaching. This is the point where you guys are on the dock, you're rushing toward the ship, you load up onto the boat, you throw the corpse of Armand on, you have Gideon and Osvius, and about this point the reverse gravity fails, begins to plummet back down. Buildings are flattened, people are screaming, there's general chaos. You watch as the old market bridge is actually shattered by a chunk of this pillar that has fallen out further than the rest. You guys load up on your ship, and the ship begins to rise, because once again, this is an airship. This is not just any run-of-the-mill bullshit. It begins to race off. The skulls are blurring about, wreathed in green flames, sending off blasts of fire and fireballs. You hear the shouts and cries of battle as dozens of people are fleeing. And you see, now that you're getting a little bit of altitude, over in the slave markets, you do hear the clang and the clash of battle. As the bridge crumbles, you see Nori, the Uthgard, in tattered leather armor, along with a dozen or so other slaves, all of whom were armed with spears. They see as the bridge crumbles, you watch as the hope on their face, their one chance at freedom dwindles, and they turn back to face the people on the other side of the market who are pursuing them, apparently to make their last stand.
Damn.
Now, you guys are getting altitude. You can make a beeline for the top of the fearsome flume. You could try to go back and pick them up.
I'd like
You
to
can
save
try to
our
stick
slave
around and
friends.
fuck with Armand. Or, excuse me, Amhergo. What do you do?
I want to save our slave friends. That's so sad.
One for slave friends?
That is,
It's okay.
That
we
is,
kinda have to try. It's kind of what we do.
yeah, our track
No, yeah,
record.
you're right. Okay,
I was gonna say it's
because
like
of
a
this,
Laughlin commercial, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys do sweep by and begin to load up the slaves onto the ship, literally pulling up to where the bridge crumbled and them just jumping onto the deck. You guys sort of holding back the Iron Ring thugs that are trying to make their way forward.
I mean, the
Because
ship
you
is still
slowed.
covered in fog too, right? Like this is technically all shrouded.
Does it travel with you?
I'm
Because I
almost
think it's a
positive it
fixed
does.
point. I was trying to read it earlier, but I was trying to multitask.
Oh, maybe you're right.
I
Maybe
always
does
thought
not
it was-
emanate from me.
A point within range.
Yeah.
So it doesn't cling to a person, it clings to a physical location. So
You are
you unfortunately aren't wreathed, but as the 3 skulls come, they're going to blast off a couple of fireballs. So we're going to see how the ship fares against this. First
Oh
one,
god.
it did well on the first check.
Just picture a
Second
Gulbrand picking, come with me if you want to live.
Did well on the second check.
Tossing people in.
It did poor on the third check. You watch as the crew themselves are reacting to this. A fireball comes up, and you watch as from the water below, a plume of water flies up as Penelope, the first mate, seems to be controlling the water to try to intercept the flame. Another one comes around, and a dome of radiant light encapsulates it, causing it to rupture before it makes impact. But the third one does make contact with the ship. Your ship does take some damage, but it's not so much to where you guys can't fly. Y'all begin to make your way toward the fearsome flume. You see the flaming skulls are behind you, again, just racing towards you with all their might. You even see that the storm clouds that Amhergo had conjured are beginning to fade. The
Z,
ship...
you don't-
Sorry, go ahead.
Z, can you set the ship on fire that fell?
Oh,
Wait, what?
there's not a ship left, Bren.
So there's rubble, right?
Yeah, it's fucked.
I don't know. I don't know if you were tapped or not, but if we could set whatever fell on him on fire, I would feel really happy about that.
I mean, I don't know how far away are we before I try to.
I would say within well, at some point in your journey to the flume, you might be within 120 feet, which is the fireball range. I am going to do one quick thing to see if Amhergo gets squished.
Oh yeah.
He do not. He passes
Hey.
check. But he will take some damage. But I'll roll that in a second. Do you want to try to throw on a fireball too?
I mean, if you want me to, I can lob a fireball back at it.
I'm going to say we're going to do it a little differently because you're trying to throw a moving spell on a moving ship at a stationary target. Make 2 Arcana checks for me.
Oh, buddy.
You want to get above an 18, we'll say. That's his armor class.
Oh. Makes sense.
Oh, I did not see.
Okay.
Oh.
Perfect. Okay, go ahead and fire off that fireball. He's going to make a save.
Okie dokie.
18d6.
Let me
You rolled
find it
well.
real quick. Sorry.
18d6, indeed.
Ooh, that was not a good roll.
18, that's 9 damage. You send down the fireball, which erupts again on this ship that is already on fire and shattered into several pieces. There is now a blaze brewing within Skullport. A decent chunk of the city is on fire. You guys are racing toward the fearsome flume. You actually don't even bother going up the water rise. You just crash into the top of it and begin making your way through these tunnels. For the sake of this, we're going to say that we're outside of combat. You guys have effectively fled Skullport and the chaos that is there. It's actually much later than I thought it would be. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll pick back up with the rest of the escape when we get back.
Alrighty.
All right.
You.
I did not eat for a full 24 hours after Thanksgiving. Like, I was so fucking... No dinner last night, no breakfast this morning.
Yeah.
It's like 2 o'clock, I'm like, I made that prime rib thing, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is... You know, I can eat that. Excellent. All right, my dudes. Wow, I won't mind telling you that y'all did a fuck ton of damage to Amhergo, and
Good.
I've got some stuff to figure out. But we'll burn that bridge when we come to it.
I wanted his rings. Come at me, Tom Brady. Let me get those rings.
I was worried you were gonna get them because those things are fucked. Amhergo is a legit character in the universe, for the record. I didn't create him. Some of the characters like Saphyne, Azazel are things that I have put into the game, but he exists independently. He's a motherfucker.
Arm and Hammer.
Arm and Hammer did not
yeah.
exist. That was Ben.
That was
Personal tie-in.
Because we
So
saw,
is
we saw the
Amhergo-
name driving in Pennsylvania, and we're like, that would make such a good D&D villain.
Oh my god. What were you saying, Devin?
So he's like Forgotten Realms canon, not just
Indeed.
Storm King's Thunder canon?
Yeah,
I
he
see.
goes back, like, I think to 2E? Maybe even further, but he's at least in 3.5.
That's pretty cool.
No, yeah.
He's like Xanthar and Tasha.
He's the second, like, there's Xanthar and there's him. In this city, that is the tier of how, how big these guilds are. I think the Zent leader of the town is just below Amhergo. Like, they are the 3 motherfuckers that pretty much run the town. With that, and hopefully we'll come back to Skullport one day after they put out the fire. Gonna change maps real quick.
With those skulls, sometimes we forget our faces.
You're right, though. With that, you guys do successfully make your way back out through the tunnels, through the fearsome flume, and back out into the sea. Secret tunnel, indeed.
Through the mountain.
You guys have a couple of days before you get back to Nightstone. I'm going to talk through a couple of things that I kind of figure you guys want to do, but if there's something you want to do in those couple of days, please tell me. We're going to start off with something
long
that's...
rest would be nice.
Yeah, everyone can take a long rest for sure, because we're not going to do any combat before you guys get back. So, Z, we're going to start with you, because this is actually something we did the other day for the other two. You have an opportunity to try to bond with your mount. The way that that's supposed to work is like, when we battled Old Gnawbone, you would have to make checks with your mount at disadvantage unless you passed all these. Since Ben and Barb passed, we went ahead and said that you did just so you wouldn't have to be the only one rolling at disadvantage. But go ahead and give me Arcana checks to see how well you can relate to this spirit. And if you choose to narrate how you go about it, or what you talk to the spirit about, or what you try to learn from it, you will get advantage on it.
Okay. So I'm gonna start with an Arcana check, I assume, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
18.
Not great.
Oh, that's from earlier. Okay. The 9 is not a pass, but that's okay because you have time. So you can make another one, and if you tell me what you do in particular, you get advantage on it.
It's inside of me, right, at this point. Like, we're just sort of having, like, an internal conversation.
You could do it either way. You could have it internal, or you could conjure it to speak to it like that, whichever you prefer.
I would prefer to do it internally, I think. So I'm just gonna sort of, like, think towards it a bit and ask it why it felt that I was a worthy vessel.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your Arcana check with advantage. As you take a moment on the deck to sort of meditate among the clouds. Excellent. A 24 is definitely a success. The voice comes to you almost from within you as you feel your lungs sort of rising and falling with its speech. I sensed that there were spirits within you. Multiple. Numerous. I believed if you could house them safely, then I could also find shelter within.
I mean, damn, I got spirits in me right now.
Got him.
Cheers to fucking that. That's hysterical.
And with that, I'm gonna take another flip.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, I'll join you. Fuck.
Everybody take a
okay.
drink. Mercy.
So
Take a
we
shot
need
for
drinking
initiative.
games and that. Got it.
So you still have to make a couple more. So make it. You can again tell me what you want to ask or do to the spirit, and then you can make your check.
Yeah. So as I convene with it, I would like to just lightly mention that it may feel like I was helping it, but I feel like it's helping me since its winds fan my flames to make me stronger.
Oh, it's her rescue story.
Oh my god, I love it. Since your winds fan my flames, fantastic. Roll with advantage. And take a shot when you're done. Excellent. Again.
Sharing shots. I'm weak. I don't
come on,
need to
Devin.
drink anymore.
Bro, I got a pint
Fantastic.
glass half full of tequila right now.
The spirits. Our relationship is one of give and take, symbiotic, boosting each other's abilities for our own longevity. It is one I find agreeable, as do I find your nature. You've got 2 checks. You've made 3. You get 1 more opportunity. So, third and final time. What do you do or say?
I wanna probe in and ask. Do you have any goals? Is there anything that I can help you achieve, aside from being a vessel?
Interesting. Roll with advantage. Ooh, coming in clutch with that last roll. The spirit, I am uncertain of why I am in this state. I am a victim of Sansuri's sick experimentation. I do not know if passing on would return me to my realm, or if I would cease to be. Until I learn, all I ask is the breath you breathe. With that, you have passed all 3 of your checks.
Very nice.
So you are bonded.
I just want to quit back and say, if the time ever comes when you're ready to be set free, let me know the arrangement, and I'll ensure that you pass happily.
Very nice. Spirit settles once more within the steady rhythm of your breath as you not awaken, but end your sort of trance-like meditation that you've been in for what I imagine is at least a half hour spent on the... Well, actually, this is supposed to be over the 2 days, so you spend quite a bit of time meditating and dwelling on this. Fantastic, thank you very much. Pandora, if you would like to loot Armand's body, you're more than welcome to.
Oh,
Let's
hell
do
yeah.
it.
I definitely want to do that.
You can make an investigation check. Well, since you have 2 days to do it and you're not trying to do it in the streets, we won't say any checks. You find quite a few things. First of all, his sword, which again, the hilt is made of like seashells, but the blade itself looks like sand. And you saw it dripping water and sort of causing it to coalesce around the blade to deal more damage. You also saw him use the anchor, which he used as a ranged weapon to try to grapple Aark, who redirected it with his sword in the last game. So you know that those are 2 magical items that he has, and they seem to be linked in a way. When he was fighting, the water from the sword ran up his arm, across his shoulders, and to the chain that the anchor was a part of. When he swung both of those in the air, they were sort of connected at the middle by that.
That's a badass fucking weapon.
But I think of it like Kratos and his fucking Blades of Fury, whatever they're called. Because it is swinging around like that when you're doing that particular thing. You also find his coat, the Captain's Pride, which you saw him use. It allows you to take on a watery form, which you get 10 feet more speed. You have your disadvantage to be grappled, and if you are grappled, you're released from it. And then I think you get water breathing while you're in that form, and you're invisible while you're underwater.
yeah.
Or advantage on stealth.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Very cool.
That shit's awesome.
As you throw it on your shoulders, the color changes. First of all, what color do you choose it to be?
Let's see. Pandora's colors are kind of like, she's got a ribbon that her and her twin sister had matching, like it's like
The
baby
blue ribbon?
like Robin's egg blue. Yeah,
Shut the fuck up.
because they're little kitty babies.
They are little kitty babies. Okay, so it goes that baby blue. And the insignia on the back, well, Armand had it, it was a very overly embellished harpy with a V and a W on the back of it for the Winklevoss, which, but now that Pandora is wearing it, that gold filigree shifts once again. And I'm going to try to drop this directly into chat. It won't let me do it, so let me download it real quick. Now, you all know that Pandora's name, when she was a pirate, was Siren's Bane. It was the title. Also, I just saw your meme, Barbara. I love that. We did it! We saved the city! Fantastic. But as Barbara dons it and it becomes this baby blue color, a beautiful winged siren takes the place on her back. Original artwork by Zombie Fox Studios. Thank you. You guys, it's a nice fit. Like the length adjusts. The sleeves just get to the perfect cut length.
It was my magic coat.
And as you're checking it out, you're sort of getting the feel for it, and you feel in your pocket there's something there. And you remember what he put in there after Lord Sage. You pull out a bag of gold coins, 500 to be precise.
Yeah.
Devin, if you'll add that to the booty.
Oh yeah.
And the little
Armand's
black...
running.
Armand's money, indeed. The little black book, which there's some information in that, but you're gonna have to make an investigation check to try to read it. Since there's 2 days, I'll let you do it twice because it's partially coded.
But I do know pirates code. Like I know thieves jargon or whatever. Thieves.
You do know thieves' camp, but this isn't quite well. It's not used by a thieves guild, but it is a criminal organization. Okay, I'll give you advantage with that check. Roll twice. Yeah, roll 2 more times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nat 20. Excellent. So you find quite a bit. Give me 1 second to pull this up.
I love rolling 20s when it matters.
So, first of all, you find notes from Lord Sage, and it seems that he has been giving Armand orders for years now. And the looks of it, you know that Lord Sage is a lord of the City of Waterdeep. Not the lord, but one of them. And he has been...
Waterdeep and fuck people up.
You feel that this book provides you with enough evidence to incriminate both Armand and Lord Sage.
Hell
That's
yeah.
pretty valuable in of itself. With a nat 20, you didn't need a nat 20, but you got it. you find the name Avalon.
Ooh.
And it says it was sold to LKD. Once again, L as in Larry, K as in Kevin, D as in Dan.
Larry, Kevin, and Dan gonna go.
Larry,
fuck 'em
Kevin,
up
and
for my
Dan.
sister.
Yep, they are motherfuckers. So
Did you
know that
use SpongeBob names?
no, but I'm glad I did. You do know that she was sold. There is a date. It's about 2 months after the crash of your ship. So you know that she was captured, sold, and then resold to an individual.
Oh damn.
You do not know who LKD is, but you know to keep an eye out for that.
Right. Yeah.
Gideon is also very interested in the book and asked if he can look through it. You know that he was enslaved as a child, got out when he was sold into slavery by his mother, got out when he was very, like, 11, 12-ish, and then obviously the time jump happened and now he's like 20. But
Right.
he has very much a vendetta against the Iron Ring and seems very interested in this and seeing what he can learn from it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've got all the information I need now. I know my sister's alive, so that's a big deal.
He goes, well, here's to getting her out and everyone else. And he begins to pour through it.
I think it would be wise to have that copied when we get back to Nightstones.
He goes, that's a great idea, Gulbrand. Yeah, we should do that.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Friendly
We'll totally
reminder,
do that.
in addition to you guys and your crew, there is also the slaves. And Nori, the Uthgard, is
Our
there.
new
And
friends.
yeah, and she tells you,
Friends.
she thanks you for the 25 gold pieces. I can't remember if that was Barb or if that was Devin who gave her specifically vocalized it. Which one of you was that? Well,
I'll remember.
I think
someone.
we just kind of joint decided on it.
Okay.
I
Well,
mean,
she thanks the
We
pair of you.
agreed we wanted to outfit her.
She goes, to be truthful, I initially wanted just to get the biggest weapon I could, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought if one spear is a gold piece, I could get 25 fucking spears and raise all fucking Cain. And thus she did. And she didn't quite free 25 people. 25 people didn't get out. The 10 that the 10 that you guys had unchained, and then she tells you that they had managed to free a few more in the ensuing chaos. But altogether, you're looking at about 18, 20 people, counting her. She does
So-
spend some...
I'm really sorry. The only thing I want to cover before I forget, before we move off of the book that we got,
Yeah, sure.
we know a lord that we could give that to for a metric fuck ton of money if we didn't want to give it to Saphyne. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Very, very true, yeah. Lord,
Well,
Ochre, I want to say?
The orange one?
Yeah.
Mine.
Oh shit, that's right. He's like
Orange
hate
lord would pay us big bank for dirt on another lord. He
You
didn't
are
say any
100%
numbers,
correct.
but
As
As long as our food goes down for everything he put me
on bounty floors, and me and Art.
Very good remembering that, Devin. I had forgotten about that. I
Yeah.
thought you were just going to give it to Saphyne, but, excellent. So, Nori does spend a bit of time talking to Gideon, hearing him and, Pandora talking about the book and its content. She does spend some time talking to him. This is more of a reminder than anything. You guys do have the Pennant of the Wind rune, and when you obtained that, it was used as a sail by the giants to make their ship go faster. You could choose to do the same to your ship. It would make it passively faster, but once a day also let you increase the speed. So if you guys are ever in a situation where you were fleeing another flying thing like Old Gnawbone, you could have used that to make an automatic pass on your checks or a check, maybe two, to escape that kind of situation. So if you would like to, you can put that on your ship, or you could hold on to it.
how long does that take? Does it take someone a whole day to do that? I know
Not
Davos
necessarily
said
a whole
like
day. I mean, it's changing a sail. I would imagine wouldn't be more than at
Especially
most
with
an hour or two.
Pandora and Aark.
Yeah, I mean, and you have the crew. Yeah, I would say it wouldn't take you a whole day by any means. Less than an hour.
Before they do it, does anybody want to paint anything silly on it?
I love it.
a Phoenix.
Jesper style?
We technically have the mascots, and Gulbrand points to, we have a phoenix that rides around.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Bergen that we
In
don't
addition
ever
to the
talk
guys
about.
that you've known, also with him this entire time, has been a hound, a fey hound. He looks like he's made out of. If you look in the strongholds and followers chat toward the top, you can see pictures of these two. One of them is an
green
arcane
Beethoven.
retriever. Yeah, green Beethoven's a good way to say it. And also a phoenix, which at this point I believe is a mature-ish phoenix. It's stands about a foot high on Bergen's shoulders, red, orange, yellow plumage. Probably stayed on the ship while you guys went into the town, just for being, too recognizable, or too standoutish. But no, they do have a couple of pets with them. Gulbrand also has a couple of bears.
I was gonna say, whatever y'all paint on it, Pandora's gonna accidentally step her paw in the paint and walk across it like fucking in the concrete.
It's cat style.
Yeah, like they walk in the concrete, leave their little paws.
Yeah.
Pandora, whatever's there, there's gonna be like a couple of little paw prints to the corner where she accidentally walked through it.
Love it.
I'm down
Like,
with the
you
phoenix.
watch as Penelope, the first mate, like goes to start to press to digitate it, but like Kaya, the spotter, like pulls her shoulder a bit, like that's character. Do y'all choose to paint the phoenix? What do y'all do?
I didn't mean to open this can of worms. I don't care, honestly. I just thought it would be cool to have something on the scale, you know?
This is my favorite kind of worms to open. So we have a Nightstone emblem that we can use. We could also do a mismatch of like the sun for Lathander. Is helm the hammer?
It's technically the gauntlet, the fist.
Gauntlet. Okay, so yeah, a gauntlet for helm plus like
I mean, like that.
a bear, a phoenix, a cat, a dragon, and a
Actually, that
whatever we
could
wanted
be,
to do.
that could be kind of cool to make like a weird hodgepodge emblem of just like random small
Like a chimera.
symbology.
Right, frickin' Jackson Pollock, everything.
That's it. It sounded pretty complicated.
Put our heart
We got a
into
bear
it,
fighting
man.
a phoenix, and then there's Thanos' gauntlet. I don't know why it's here, but it's there,
The
right?
Phoenix
We got
has a
helmet.
gauntlet. Like it's
Lord.
all one creature. Like the Phoenix has its gauntlet and like dragon wings and shit.
Oh god.
I just
Bare arms.
picture strangers look at. Is that a cat's butthole on the sail?
Yes.
Love
Well,
it.
We
You
know
guys
what's on there
spend-
now.
You guys spend some time discussing the artistic nature of it, and don't actually get anything done. We'll revisit that later as y'all figure out exactly what you want.
The Great Cornholio.
The Great Cornholio. It's about end of the first day, approaching evening,
1 second.
when
I'm
sorry.
very sorry. On the first day, the first thing Gulbrand wants to do on the first day is he wants to cast Dispel Magic on himself, just to see what happens.
dispel magic.
Yeah.
Because you had that,
Make
that
an arc. Anyone who wants to. Are you going to explain why you're doing this to the group out of curiosity? Because I think I know why, but
Gulbrand tells everybody that he can't hurt Amhergo because he bought that one's over theirs, and he points to
to Nori.
To Nori, yeah. So I can't hurt him.
Just one of his rings, I guess.
Anyone who wants to can make an Arcana check, or I will say a History check.
I'm gonna do both for shits and gigs.
One or the other.
I'll stick with my Arcana.
It's
I was
14.
better at that.
Oh no, you swap now.
14 was the best. Yeah.
You're not really sure what the fuck that's up with. I mean, that's if it's true, that's some pretty powerful magic. That doesn't seem like something that just would be attached to an item. This I don't know, feels different. You're not sure.
Maybe we can ask Saphyne.
Quite
She
possible.
probably
Quite
knows.
possible.
It's a good
She
idea.
dabbles in the fiendish.
I just
Indeed.
want to look at Gulbrand and be like, how do you always get in these conundrums? You had a weird weapon that you couldn't get healed with, and now all of a sudden you can't damage another guy. Like, I don't know, maybe stop picking up stuff or making friends with weird people.
I kind of left the maniac, but damn,
That's a
goalie.
That's what happens
try
when you sleep with
with
everything that
person?
walks.
I fucking hates all of you.
I'm gonna
I
try
will
and
also
use
s-
Y'all erase them.
Remove
Oh.
curse. Okay.
Yeah.
With the dispel magic and the remove curse, you don't feel as if anything is different. I mean, you didn't feel anything different to begin with. You're not really sure what's how it's going. But you know that you have tried those two things. I will also add, I was really hoping Amhergo would down you because he was gonna say, should have kept the scythe because it was, giving you healing and shit, but fun shit. With that, a greater restoration, which you can use once a day, or, well, with your channel divinity. Yeah. You pump, again, all three of you gather around just trying to assess what this is and pumping off these spells. Nothing seems different. Nothing has changed. Nothing, you didn't feel differently when you bought her. I don't know. It's
Okay, so can I
think
see
it's in
if,
your
like,
soul, Gulbrand. You're just dirty to your core now.
can I see if he's got, like, maybe if the
Stayed.
flavor planted something on him? Like, can I, like,
if the
feel
what
him
planted
down
Are
something
you
to,
on?
just
like,
gonna
hide him?
frisk Gulbrand?
Yeah, I'm gonna frisk Gulbrand.
Frisky 2 times.
So give me the whiskey
Make an
talking,
investigation check?
but tell him to get naked first. We got to make sure we can see the whole thing.
It's
Yeah.
probably
Wow,
in his
that's
butt.
pretty-
It's probably
I
in his
literally
butt.
just accidentally squeezed his butt.
Flat on top.
Oh.
That's a lot of cake. It's not exactly hard to do.
Like,
Gulbrand's a big dude.
I was like, would it be a
He's-
sleight of hand check instead? Because that's better.
no!
I mean, if you were picking a pocket, it would be, but no, you've done been digging. You find out that underneath Gulbrand's bear cloak, he does not have underwear. So, congratulations, you've learned something today.
Disgusting.
Oh, gross.
I wear underwear, dude. Special underwear. Like, I have to cut a tail out of every single pair of underwear I buy.
I
He
just
fucks
feel
his
like,
underwear.
I feel like you chose picking a pocket for specific reasons that I don't appreciate.
To the one
Picking his
character who
soul
didn't have
pocket.
pockets, by the way.
Rip.
Interesting.
I mean, Gulbrand would not feel. Gulbrand would, off of us when he said that, would absolutely strip naked to get checked for ticks. But I don't think we're gonna find anything.
No, nothing pops up.
Maybe you should just smoke more of your magic dust to figure out what's the matter.
I could try that. One good start.
Uh,
I don't think it would. Don't know that I could find anything else about that.
Probably wouldn't need an excuse to do it anyway.
Also, Barbara,
He's got
you
a
find
problem.
you find a hunting trap. I'm gonna pretend it's a bear trap, even though that's probably not accurate. You find a hunting trap on him. I'm going through his inventory and seeing what random shit you would find. That would be.
With the 3 investigation, well, I guess it's pretty big.
Yeah, you're digging around in there. Ow! Fuck! Pull out your hand with the booby trap.
A bag of
trap.
stones.
As it approaches evening, you hear a faint voice calling out to you in a familiar fashion, and pull once again the mirror of dissemination, a small hand mirror from your bag of holding. In the visage, you see Daphne, who says, "Oh, lords, I'm glad we got you. Listen, we've just received word from Lord Fall of Everaska, the city to the far east, has been captured by the Zentara, nearly obliterated, and is now occupied. You guys go to your map, go all the way to the right. I'm gonna ping right beneath the desert, over this way. And Everaska is a ways out east. It's where Valkyr is from, more or less, where he chose to reside once he got to the surface. And this is a big city. This is not like Oralbar or fucking Lork or any of the smaller towns. This is about on par with Daggerford. It's bigger than Nightstone. For it to be overrun is alarming, to say the least. Now, Davos, living in that region, you would know that's at least a couple of 10 days away. And moving that many troops, probably a little longer than that. Maybe a month? But you know that you know definitively where they are, and it seems that they're going to raise everything in their path on their way to get to you. This is a big show of force from a group that typically operates in the shadows. This is unprecedented. Do any of you
We're
wish to
gonna
say
need a
anything?
bigger boat.
Tajin's like, I've wanted to expand. We could add a third deck above, actually, and no. You guys,
I want to ask. Golden wants to ask Bergen. Do you think that the other big tribes, they will let them do this march? They'll let them keep coming.
You mean like the Lords Alliance and shit?
They're not gonna
That's
like that
what
if
I
they.
want.
Yeah,
Like,
they're gonna like that, are they? If they burn everything from there to there. from people there to
You
here.
said nothing.
I would say you and Davos, between the two of you, working within the Order of the Gauntlet and the Order of the Aster, respectively, know that this will probably cause a large-scale retaliation, which makes you that much more concerned. How big a force is this? I mean, Amhergo teased you with the information, trying to get you to accept his offer, and to take over an entire city like nothing, to overrun the guards, the Lord's Alliance that were in there. Valkyr's old mercenary company, the Silent Rain, used to operate out of this town. This was far from defenseless. You're anxious about exactly how many they're coming with. Or what they're coming with, for that matter. Anything to or from Daphne before the call ends?
Do we have any more agents that do the subtle fudge?
Osvius was our only external agent, not counting the recently deceased Derek. He is the only one we have at the moment.
Never mind. Thank you.
The mist fades. As we approach the end of the first day, Davos, Gulbrand, I will open it up to you guys to do Prescience and Crystal Ball Scry if you would like to. Davos, start with you.
I'm gonna put my ball on the Everaska or the what is it? This Bane
Darkwind.
Bane Darkwind is the individual.
But
Make
she's all
a
messed
wisdom
up.
check. Well, not all.
We've had troubles with her that one before.
Indeed, yeah, that's a good way to say it. Yeah, make a wisdom check. Yeah, not a save, just a check. So if you have like a +2 to wisdom. Oh no, you're not sure what to make of that. I will say one other person can make a wisdom check.
Shop. And Brittany's like, he's starting with cult. That's absolutely what he's doing.
Bergen, do it.
I do have
Individual and universal.
my wisdoms.
Yeah, do it, Bergen.
You're Barbara mumbling angry in the background. A 10.
No, I know.
I mean, a 10's enough to tell you that there's magics that protects against scrying, but you don't know exactly what it could be or why. You would know that scrying on the city itself might prove better than the actual scrying on her specifically, especially if she's still in the city. But that's probably about as much as you can make of it.
Yeah, I was hoping to maybe when they get to Oral Bar, make some headway.
That's you've never been to Everaska.
Right.
You could still try if you'd like to, and we'll roll some stuff and see what happens.
I mean, wouldn't hurt.
Okay,
I don't
I'm
think
gonna roll
they'll-
this in chat. +7 because you've never been there, never seen them. Have to beat
17.
17's the DC.
17 is the base.
The base DC, yeah.
Right.
Oh, but you have to add to it. No, I remember now. You're right.
I have heard of the target. I've never met him, so that's adding a 5. It's just heard of him. So 22.
Indeed. And this is wisdom save, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, they get to add 5 to their roll, don't they?
Well,
I forget how this thing works.
yeah. It's a little fucky, but
It's so confusing.
They add 5 to their roll.
they have. He's never heard of him. They get a 17, which means I'm not sure if they meet or if he meets. I don't know which direction that works, but I'll be a merciful DM. Your vision comes through. Slowly, the glare catches the crystal ball. Your vision whites out for just a moment before going black. And at first you fear that it hasn't worked again. And then you realize it's just the plumes of smoke that with the winds falter just enough for you to see this city in flames. Not even captured, leveled. You see corpses. Do me a favor, make a perception check. with advantage for a reason you know. Fantastic. Roll again just to see, okay? You see entire buildings not just burned down, disintegrated. You recognize this as the effects of acid, that these buildings were blasted with this highly corrosive liquid and then just ate away at them. There's only a few creatures that can do that kind of thing.
Dragon.
You know that black dragons spit acid.
Yes, they do.
It's a distinct possibility. It's not the only possibility, but it's the most prominent one that comes to your mind. You don't see any troops. You don't see Bane. You don't see a soldier, a dragon, anything. You gather that they have already left Everaska and are continuing their march. Your vision comes to a close. Gulbrand, as nightfall comes, you make your way up to the deck and begin to set yourself up as you have done countless other times. And as you're settling down, Gideon comes to you. He says, I just wanted to ask if I could watch while you do that. I know you're not exactly proud of it, but it's very important, and we appreciate that you do. Would it be all right if I were to observe?
Yes. It's not necessary. Uthgard did not give you this gift, so you cannot take the bloodweed. But if you want to watch, I'm not going to stop you. All of the rest of the Uthgard have seen it.
He drops his head a little bit, a little crestfallen perhaps, but nods his head and sits tight. I'm going to use this. He's going to ask a couple of questions as you're going. I'm just going to use this as an opportunity for you to explain to the newcomers exactly what this looks like.
Oh boy. So Gulbrand, like he said, he goes up into the top of the ship where he can see the stars, because he sits down and he takes out, you guys have seen him snort a ground grass into a powder, but he takes out a very similar, seems to be the same plant, and he packs it into a censer, and he lights the censer so that the bloodweed makes a fair amount of smoke. And he has, as I almost forgot to describe, a big tablet-sized obsidian tablet around his neck. And so when he sits down, he takes the tablet in his hand and turns it to reflect on the stars, so that the sky above him reflects on the tablet. And he sits with the censer in one hand and the tablet in the other, or I kind of picture he has them collapsed together. And as the fumes of the bloodweed kind of roll up into his face, I think he would probably take 2 or probably 3 hits, because he'd be okay the next day.
Okay.
And if you sit there and watch long enough, the rest of the party has seen that the stars on the tablet begin to move. They will roll or spin or change, and it's almost like the sky above him is moving, but obviously if you look up, there is nothing going on. But
I like to think if you're like laying on one of those things at the playground that just spins around, if you're laying on it looking up at the stars, like it's kind of like that swirl chaos kind of thing.
And he kind of goes catatonic in a way, just staring into this tablet.
Okay. Are you searching for anything in particular, or are you just seeing what the path holds?
I think the 2 biggest things on his mind would be if he sees Amhergo, and I understand he can't see everywhere, so it may or may not mean anything if he didn't. And where the Lord's Alliance and company might meet them in battle. Like, where would they, when they've decided we've had enough, we can't let you keep doing this, like where on the map is that going to happen? Or,
okay.
Yeah,
which
not so much time, but where?
Which one of those do you want to prioritize in case it's a lower roll?
I want to prioritize the one about the Lord's Alliance.
Okay.
Where do they?
Go ahead
does fate think, or where does right now, if nothing changes to change the future, where do they gonna fight at?
Yeah. Roll your check and tell me what your totals are, because I think you get to add a bit for it for +3.
It's
Those are 2 very good checks.
Oh,
+2?
That, you're right. It's
Plus
+2 for
two
the axe.
plus your axe.
It's
so you
+2
break
for
30.
the axe. Yeah, hold on a second. I'll check. I didn't have those notes pulled up.
you do.
I was not ready. Gulbrand trips hard, y'all. In case you was wondering.
You do.
That's what that means.
For a 30, we're going to have some fun.
Oh no, don't say that. It is another +2 on top of that.
So 31. Fantastic. Interesting. Okay. Your vision whirs and you black out, and the flashes that come are intense and shaky. For the Lord's Alliance question, you see them, the forces of Bane Darkwind, charging forward and meeting with a wave of Lord's Alliance soldiers. You see other banners in that army. Roll a perception check for me. Roll above a 12. Fantastic. You see banners with 21. Fuck. You see banners of Golden Fields, banners of the Lord's Alliance, banners of Secumber, banners of Nightstone. Several banners of Nightstone. The topography is difficult to place exactly, but you see in the distance where 2 rivers meet, not far from the battlefield. I'll say that's all you get for that particular vision as you flash to another. You see 2 figures you recognize, Mirren and Nim, the 2 sisters of the current ruling princess, Saressa, of the Storm Giant. They are, Mirren seems to be shouting almost at Nim, complaining, arguing. It's difficult to assess exactly what's happening as you flash forward to another, where you see sand falling down, spreading out into a widening wormhole, things being swallowed into it, stones, a figure that you can't quite make out moving amongst the rubble. You see Davos near you, who is also slipping into this pit as something is opening up from beneath the sand. You also see Hydia, Revna, Edensaw, your tribe. You see Seiko, Marengo, Rancor, Kaya, several of the tribes gathered around a bonfire. And for one last one, I'm going to roll this in chat. Even is weal, odd is woe. Even, wheel, good fortune. You see, you watch as you're back in Skullport. The flames have been doused. The rubble is immense. People are shifting through it, trying to find anything they can of value. You watch as a particularly rough-looking orc, poor, starving, looking for anything valuable that might have rained down from the sky, moves through the rubble and finds a hand with 5 iron rings, lying limp. You gather that Amhergo is no more. With that, you come back to on the deck, dripping in sweat, weary, dizzy, dazed.
Gulbrand wants to look
And
up,
see-
look Gideon in the eye, and tell him
You
the
go
dwarf
to.
is dead. Oh no, is he not there?
You look up where he was sitting, but Gideon is on the floor in front of you, convulsing, frothing at the mouth. What do you choose to do in this moment?
Let's start with a healing spirit, since I have that.
Excellent. What does your spirit look like, since it's an animal, or...
It's a bear!
It's a little bear cub. Well, it's a little spirit, so it's like a little bear.
Nah, they take up a 5 foot square. 5 foot cube.
Yeah,
Bear
but
just licks
I
me
like them in
right
this
on
cute
the
little
face.
face. Yeah. This bear begins licking his cheek. And Gideon's still convulsing but controlled, and after a few seconds it fades, and his eyes come to. Red and cracked, gasping for breath, dryness around his mouth. You hear him, like, wheezing. And Gulbrand, you recognize this. These are side
Asthma.
effects that you've grown accustomed to through the years. But Gideon is not. Gideon comes to with a jolt and vomits immediately over the edge of the deck. And after several seconds of convulsing and gagging, I saw shit. I looked on your tablet I saw stuff was moving. I thought it was cool, and I saw a woman, a beautiful woman. And someone put a ring on her finger. And it
Definitely not.
shattered into a million pieces.
The ring did?
The ring did. I don't fucking know. I guess she didn't want to get married. I don't know what to make of this. What the fuck?
Do you want to look against? It won't be fun.
He holds his stomach and backs away a good 10 feet. Like, no, I feel like shit. Just,
Who else? That's very interesting, actually. I did not think you would be able to look at the tablets. Amhergo's is dead. His body will be found sometime shortly.
You see, as he, even with this uncomfortable aura about him, he collapses against the side of the deck with the biggest wave of relief.
You should go
Amhergo
tell
is... I will. Amhergo's dead. Armand is dead. The Mind Flayer, whatever part he played in this, is dead. This is huge. With this, we can... all three organizations are going to be thrown into chaos. There's an opportunity, and we've got to strike while the iron's hot. I need to rest. But when we get back to Nightstone, I want to talk to you about this.
We'll have Sluethe Fires.
He shakes his head and begins to head down into the deck. As we round to day 2. I will let you guys do any role play or ask any questions you would like to do. If no one has anything in mind, then I've got about 3 or 4 things here. Anything you guys
I got
want?
nothing.
I just want to. I'm gonna walk up to Gulbrand and I'm gonna thank him for the Heart of Stone and say, I never feel, or I don't feel like I ever really got a chance to thank you for giving me this.
Seemed like a neat things, and I didn't want the other things they had to offer. They said they told us it was Heart of an Elemental, right?
Yeah, a Jorn, which is a specific type of earth elemental.
You seem to be good with the forces of natures. I figured that one could teach you some things.
Well, I hope you're right. While I'm here, let me ask you a quick question. I've seen you turn into some interesting things. I've seen you summon some things. You ever turn into a wolf person?
Persons knows I can turns into a wolf's, but
Okay.
I am a wolf's. Mostly, I can think like me's.
All right, fair enough. That's it.
Oh, person.
Do you mean like the bardic songs about like werewolves? No, I don't think he does that.
There are some Uthgard that do. We met them briefly.
Before we killed him with my silver sword. Not really.
He's
That's,
making
that's
stuff.
not true.
He's prone to exaggerations.
I note that down. So you, so you've actually met people that can do that. You know Uthgard that can turn into wolves.
Wolf mids, yes.
Okay.
We could take you. Is there one? Is there's not one at the camp right now?
There's not. No.
Okay.
You saw him in your vision, but
I
there's not one now.
envisions that you will have a chance to meet them in the futures.
Okay. Good chat.
Also,
Thanks, Gulbrand.
Did you know a Wolfman?
Yeah. So.
Why do you
Are
ask?
are you there? Just kidding.
Am I there?
Know the Muffin
it's not a
Man.
huge
mean,
ship.
it's a good question.
It's not unreasonable to say he would be in earshot, but
I can be not there. That's fine.
No, it's fine. I'm just screwing with you. I'm like, yeah, I have interest in. When I first met Gulbrand, I was curious about him and his lineage and relations to other tribes of Uthgarth barbarians. If we happen across any that could turn into wolfmen, I would be interested in meeting them.
Where did we meet them?
He's a wolf furry, confirmed.
so
Can I do
imagine-
an insight check? I want to make an insight check.
you certainly can. Josh, don't tell us what. Roll a d20 and add either your persuasion or your deception modifier if you're trying to conceal something, or persuasion if you're being genuine. Bergen, roll it. Oh God, I'm sorry.
Oh wow.
But I have a +8 to persuasion.
27.
Oh my god.
Fantastic. Well, you shouldn't have told me which one, but no, you're good. Bergen, you gather it seems deeply personal to him. It seems like something that he doesn't really want to share yet. You guys are still fairly new comrades. You've been traveling together for a few weeks now, but you're not, you get this feeling this is a touchy subject.
Okay.
Your last name's not Van Helsing, is it?
No.
That would be badass, though.
That would be.
All right, retrofit it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know
These are Helsing.
where's they are now, but we do know we have met.
The only thing Gully does here is, he sleeps a little too close to the bears, if you know what I mean.
Oh God.
Ew.
Means he has fleas, y'all. Get your head out of the gutter.
What does
I
hideous?
imagine they tell you a rundown briefly of their tale. They had journeyed to a iceberg where they were pursuing the frost giants, and on that iceberg, among other things, they found an adult white dragon with a clutch of eggs that the giants were holding hostage, several frost giants, and several of these particular Uthgarth that you're asking about, the Grey Wolf tribe, that were prisoners of the giants. Being fellow Uthgarth, the party agreed to sail them back to shore to get them at least off the iceberg and let them make their own way home. And when the party was later trying to stop the frost giants, later being like 2 or 3 days later, trying to stop the frost giants from attacking a town, the werewolves did show up as backup, led by one of the party members, who is not with us here today, but makes it sound like he's dead. So they seem to hold them in a respectable light, more or less. Do with that information what you.
I will lean into that a bit because that wasn't information I had, and I'll continue to sort of drive in and ask Gulbrand, are you friendly?
I mean, I could kill Seikos if I had to, but I don't think I would want to try. We have done him a great favor, if I remember correctly, and I would say that we're not on bad terms.
At this point, you've both helped each other out. You freed them, they assisted you against the frost giants. Granted, there was some self-serving nature in that because they hated the giants anyway. But
did we restore their mound, or was it ever raided?
Theirs is Raven Rock, which you have restored. They share it with the Raven tribe.
Yeah, we did them a big favor.
I think I'll just lightly leave it at that, unless you have anything you want to ask or come back with.
I imagine Davos being Davos, like, tries to squeeze more info out of you, but Bergen just like, nah, bro. Let sleeping werewolves lie, man.
Don't know what business you have with him, but they're not to be trifled with. He could kill me as quickly as I could kill him.
That's debatable.
Yeah. Maybe one-on-one. Let a werewolf try to hurt my buddy Gully.
Gulbrand would be okay till the other one, next one showed up, and then the third one, the fourth, then it would.
Gulbrand and Bergen, because of your passive perceptions, during the ride, you notice Gideon up in the crow's nest with Kaya. And you know for a fact you didn't see him climb up there. So you think he turned invisible to get up there.
Oh.
And of course, that doesn't last forever. At some point expired. Just something you spot on the trip. You can do something about it or not, whatever you choose.
Can't decide if Gulbrand would do absolutely nothing or throw a rock at the crow's nest. It's one or the other.
From a third party, I feel like you'd leave him alone.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. That's what Devin would do. I don't know about Gulbrand.
You could choose to make a insight check if you wanted to catch the vibe.
You could send somebody else maybe. But like I don't know if Gully would do that.
Yeah, I mean, if they're up to teenager shit, Gulbrand would not give a shit straight up. But
all right, 18 is pretty solid. I will give Bergen the chance to do this as well, since you were the only other one that noticed it, if you would like to. Or if you
Bergen
don't...
will need to take some notes, yes.
Oh, God. With an 18, Gulbrand, you gather it's actually not what you think. You initially think the same thing, like, oh, he's a man now, of course he's doing, what men do. But it doesn't seem to be about that. They both seem to have rather, not stern, but they're talking about a serious subject, you gather. And, maybe he could be doing it to get to know her better. But with an 18, I'd say that's not the way you're leaning on how this is going.
I
don't have any way to eavesdrop, so...
I will give you each an opportunity to crystal ball or prescience, if you would like to.
I was going to say, you can ask me to go eavesdrop. I'm real sneaky.
Can I?
You can ask her, yeah, sure. Pandora didn't notice herself, but you can point it out to her and she could...
Gulbrand would pretend to do whatever he was doing, pretend to work, or continue to pace, or whatever he was doing. And he'd walk by Pandora, he would say, our friends is in the crow's nest, and it looks like we're talking about something serious. Any chance you could find out what that is?
Oh, absolutely.
We did not see him climb up theirs.
Okay. Barbara, you can make a stealth check to try to get close. Oh, I'm sorry, Davos, would you like to say something first?
I was just gonna, not so discreetly start playing like some romantic music on the lute. Just loud enough to where I know they can hear. I don't know.
Now, these two are being very discreet up here. Gulbrand not so discreet, so he thinks he's being sneaky talking to Pandora, but he points like really heavily, and like you spot it, and you just start a little, not careless whisper, but it's a little 18 stealth. Oh, okay. I thought you were going to be outside their range, but that is well within. Kaya specifically, which by the way, look at her picture in chat. She's a bae. She or in the Strongholds and Followers chat. She's the spotter of the ship. It is specifically her duty to spot landmarks, oncoming creatures, things down below. She's got a pretty high perception. So I'm going to roll these two. 18?
Get wrecked.
You make your way up the first part of the crow's nest. You're at, like, the first mast. You're listening, and they're a little quiet. You go a little further, and you hear them talking for a bit. Not a very long time, but you do hear, Kaya is telling him that she, too, was an Uthgard. She was a war child. She was brought into the tribe at a very young age and raised as an Uthgard. And then, when she became older, a man tried to force himself on her. And she incinerated him. Not intentionally. Never something she had tried to do, but she set his clothing ablaze. His hut caught fire and destroyed 2 other huts. 2 people died, and her tribe saw her as a witch. She became a pariah and was exiled. And about this time, it's actually Gideon who cuts her off and like grabs onto the edge of the crow's nest and like slings himself down to where he's like eye level with you, and he goes, "All right, I'll admit you're pretty fucking sneaky, but this is just disrespectful at this point."
I mean, maybe I wanted to come do something in the crow's nest. Have you ever thought about that? Jeez.
Well, you gotta wait your fucking turn then.
Well, you know what? Maybe I don't wanna. Maybe I want my alone time at the crow's nest. Y'all been up here long enough.
He goes,
Yeah.
well, fine then. And we'll catch up later, Kaya. And he, drops down. Oh, he does not do as well as he wanted to. You see he tries to do like a sort of drop from the crow's nest and like superhero pose. And as he does, you hear like a pop. And like he tries to keep it together, but you see like his arm is a little fucked up. Like he landed a little harder than he intended to.
Want to do an acrobat, like slide down the pole, like gracefully and land, and be like, there you go.
Yeah, with the 15 you don't take any damage. It's not super showy, but it's it's
Better than
skilled
him.
nonetheless.
All I
Yeah,
have to do
for
is throw
sure.
him up.
He got a 10, so he just barely got to the point where he wasn't gonna bust his ass. But all right. With that,
I'm just gonna tease at
With the
goalie and
ship.
give him the thumbs up.
what was that, Devin?
I would tell him with a ship full of people, you can expect to get bear blocked every now and then.
Because it wasn't like that. I was just, I saw some tattoos on her arm, and she has feathers underneath all of her bangles.
To see the tattoos on the rest of her body. I get it.
Well, no, but it was my first hint that she was an Uthgar. I pay attention the best I can. I don't catch quite as much as these two do. He points to Gulbrand and Bergen, but you know I keep my eyes peeled.
Well, fucks. You have killed and been dead. We need to get you's tattoos.
He asked you, do they hurt?
Tattoo party!
I mean,
Devin's never had a tattoo.
Yeah. Imagine to Gulbrand,
I want
probably
to hear him
not.
explain this.
Gulbrand probably wouldn't think so. He's got a pretty hardy constitution.
Gulbrand, and technically Goliaths are born with quite a few of theirs.
Yes, indeed. But you earn them for first claw and chiefdom,
Yeah.
and your first
I mean-
kill, your first,
I can't imagine. I imagine he would say no because his stone skin, his
Yeah.
skin's very hard.
That's a fair point. He raises up the back of his shirt, and Gideon, since even when he was little, had these. They're even on his original character art. He has like bands along his back that are mostly there's none on his arms that are quite so visible as yours. You can see if he lowers his shirt, like the few of them creep up to the back of his neck, but none of them are a particular showy place. But he does have some of those tattoos as well. Not as many as you do, but he is only half Goliath, so for what it's worth. He goes, well, anyway, if I was comparing tattoos, Davos, I'd wait till later. Sort of saunters
I want
off
to give him
down
a
the
good
deck.
job smack on the butt.
Okay. He jumps a little bit, like, a little tense, but makes his way down. Crystal Ball or Prescience? Going once, going twice. Sold! Anything? Okay. As you approach Nightstone, on the, this is technically just after dawn on the third day, you see that the city is bustling with activity. And shortly after you land, Daphne welcomes you and tells you that they've been quite busy. Sidiri and Valkyr are speaking at the barracks and seem to be organizing the troops. She tells you that your commissions are ready at the blacksmith. She tells you that Davos' father asked to speak with Davos and the rest of the lords when they got back. And in the town center, you see Saphyne, Donovan, Zatari, and Orin, and Zork, the mute stone giant, are all examining the Nightstone. There seem to be tables set out in front of them, and from what you can tell at this distance, they seem to be gathering rubbings of the stone itself. You also are told that the Uthgard dispatch returned. In fact, 2 groups of Uthgard returned, which is a little odd to you because you only sent out 1 group to do those things. So it's a little odd in your ears.
Friends.
What do you guys choose to follow up on first? I'll say them again real quick. Talking about troops, the blacksmith, Davos' dad, the Nightstone, or the Utgard?
I mean, I want to get my goodies from the blacksmith.
Okay. Pandora, you are given your Mariner's Dragon Scale, which I do have for you. If you actually go to your inventory, hit Add Item, type in Mariners, and it should pop up. Mariner's Dragon Scale Mail. Aark, you also get your Old Bone Blade. If you go to the same thing, inventory, add Old Bone Blade, and it's named Old Bone Blade because old Gnawbone, and it's a bone blade. Gulbrand, Bergen, and Z, all of you have your new armors, but I didn't actually finish those. But we're not going to have combat today, so I will get those to you before the next combat. And Davos, what did you want? Did you ever pick anything?
I don't think I did. I would probably just enhance one of the things that I have.
Okay.
I'll look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Before next week, message me that, and I'll get that updated. And let me upgrade you. Excellent. So you all get your booty. Where do you go to next? Troops.
I gotta hit the sack, y'all.
Gotcha.
I'll catch y'all next week.
No, for sure. Get
Have
some
a
rest,
good
my
night,
dude, and we'll
Later,
see you then.
See you.
Take care, Spence.
Peace,
I'd
bud.
say
Our Lord and
either
Savior, Lord.
Nightstone or what the hell's up with the second Utgard tribe?
Yeah, I want to
Yeah,
know what's
so
going on
it's
with the Nightstone.
So it's Uthgard, Nightstone, Davos' dad, troops.
I like that order.
Oh fuck! I don't know what order I said I'm in, dog. You gotta repeat it.
You said
I'm pretty sure it was
Utgard,
Night-
Nightstone,
Yeah.
or Nightstone is fine first.
Nightstone, Uthgard, that was Stad troops.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Nightstone first. So you, again, they have several small tables centered up around it, and you see that they're systematically taking rubbings of them. And Donovan tells you, well, lords, I appreciate you bringing it back. It's a lot bigger than I thought it would be. No, it's going to take us I understand why it has been so difficult to translate. The fragment you gave me had but one combined rune. This is a mishmash of them. It's difficult to see the forest through the trees, if that makes sense.
Not at all.
Thankfully, thankfully, you have several multilingual citizens here who know Draconic and Infernal, and Zork seems to know a few of the Jotun runes. Everybody in this circle, including Orin, I checked Tabitha, she did not, knows at least 2 of the 3 languages that are part of the Nightstone. Of you guys, the only person who is multilingual in that regard is Z. Z knows both Draconic and Infernal. Z, if you would like to, Donovan invites you to help them work on translating it and see what you can find out. Would you like to participate in that?
Yeah, I'm down.
Cool. So make 3 Arcana checks for me.
Good.
Lots of Arcana checks for you today.
Not good. Whoa, okay.
It's rough. He's not kidding. So this thing is covered in countless runes. I mean, over 100 perhaps. And each one of them is actually 3 separate runes that are taken from different languages and placed together to make a mishmash, but incredibly powerful magic. Because it's taking from more than one school of thought, it's able to improve on the shortcomings. Unfortunately, you rolled pretty poorly. I'll say with the 10 and the 12, you make out 2 runes. You see one that is Wither, which I will say is probably going to be in the Draconic font, and then another that is Smother in the Infernal font. So Wither and Smother. Again, those are from 2 separate runes as well. So you're not quite clear on the picture, but it's giving you an idea that whatever this is dark. I mean, just the energy radiating off of it feels sinister almost. It's and Donovan will tell you it's primarily necrotic energy that exudes from the stone, but it is a menagerie of things. There is evocation, there is divination. Many of these runes tap into different layers of magic. It is the most complicated thing I have ever seen. And it does not surprise me now that this has been unsolved for as long as it has been. But we will continue to work on it day and night until we can make heads or tails of it. I will tell you, lords, we do still have the keystone in the keep. For whatever it's worth to you. If you would like us to add it back to the Nightstone, we can. If you would like us to leave it separate, we can. I cannot even wager a guess at this point what it would do.
I think it's best to keep that as far away from it as possible. For now.
And I offer my subpar services again in the future in case we want to attempt to translate this again.
Yeah. Anytime you guys are in Nightstone, he'll give you another opportunity to make some checks and figure some stuff out.
Is that Saphyne standing there?
Yes, Saphyne is one of the several here.
Do we want to ask her how much she'd give us for that journal?
Yeah.
I mean, we could not mention it to her and just sell it to Lord Ochre.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I
I
mean,
mean, what would she
I
gain
got
out
the
of it?
info.
Well,
You know that she's also a
both told
lord.
us. Yeah, she told us
Right.
she would reward us for information for dirt on other lords, but Ochre specifically said that he would pay. He
Very
seemed to be
handsomely.
he's the money person. Like apparently economy was his thing, and that
Yeah.
he claimed he would pay a lot of money for dirt.
15 seconds.
So if we
And
know
put a
that,
little
I
cup of
double
water
dip.
in there.
would question if we should see what she would offer aside from money. I feel like money's obtainable. What does she have that others could not provide?
I barked up that tree, bro. You don't want it.
You do want
No,
it,
I'm
you
just
just can't get
joking.
it.
No, I was just wondering, could we like do both? Like give it to her first, and then
We'll also consider we could have a copy made for her since we've already decided we want it. Gulbrand turns to Daphne. We need copies of this.
right.
You know, we can
Daphne,
maybe have one made for her.
unfortunately, Daphne looks at it. This isn't even in common or infernal or this isn't a language. I mean, I could copy it, but it would take me a very long time. She doesn't read the code that it's in to effectively
want it.
copy it.
See, I don't want it decoded. I just want it rewritten. Like
Understood,
word,
but like the
it'll be
difference
hard.
is in like a triangle with a triangle that's isosceles versus a triangle that's equilateral versus a triangle that has is filled in versus empty. There's lots of little things of the code that make it difficult to copy. She could do it, but it would take a while.
Could Pandora do it like easier, faster?
You could work on it, but it would again, you're copying a little black book with I mean at least 60-80 pages of information. It's going to take time.
Right.
Like I said, maybe give it to her first, and then keep
Give
in
it to
back
her to
pocket.
copy. Yeah, give it to her to copy. Make her give it back when she gets done.
Yeah.
or just get the info out of it, whatever she might need. Unnecessarily copy.
No, get one of the
I don't think
pirates
that's a
dishes.
bad. I don't think it's a bad idea. Maybe let her have it till she's done with it, and then just ask her to give it back. Then maybe we could sell it.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay. If you guys approach Saphyne, you see she's hard at work on these tables. She's actually looking a little, not ragged, but you can tell she's tired. The town when you guys left was mostly destroyed. Not mostly destroyed, let me rephrase that. Had taken some serious damage. I mean, the inn was caved in, several of the homes were fucked up, but they've been hard at work repairing this, and you can tell that for a woman who you normally see very well put together, she's a little, meta-wise, you think she has a point of exhaustion or two. What do you say to her as you approach?
Babe, get you a nap.
But having
Oh,
some
sugar,
late
I
nights
wish I
lately,
could.
huh?
No, it's I've been burning the candle at both ends, unfortunately. Been a busy time since you guys uncovered so much, and Waterdeep. I just told the other lords about what Lord Succumber passed on. We're trying to scramble the Lord's Alliance forces, but we don't have a large stationing there in the middle of the country. We're trying to reposition some things.
Wells, we have some news. The group fills her in on, this guy is dead. This other guy is is dead, and
She knows Armand Hammer by reputation, but not personally. And says he's the second naval. Like there's two commodores in the fleet of the Lord's Alliance. There's two. They're the top two. Yeah, not anymore. So he is a very high-ranking military official. She says with the book, if we can get enough information out of it, we can probably incriminate him. No, certainly, yes. If he's done the things you've told me, then truth must out. Now, Amhergo, he's a whole nother fucking can of evil. The Iron Ring is ancient.
Well, here's the things. We're willing to give you this book and let you take the information you want. But we ask that you return the book and you hold your information for a times.
She cocks her head to the side. Well, if I had this information, I would use it to incriminate Lord Sage and Commodore Armand Hammer. Why would I hold it?
Just long enough for us to sell the books to someone else.
Well, if they get all the credit, why should I bother?
I thought you were all about doing the right things.
Oh, the right thing? No, Shug. Sometimes what I want happens to overlap with the right thing. That's what you're looking at. Now, I'll tell you this. I'd be happy to provide you with some payment if you would give this to me exclusively. For example,
and snooze her with a 25 in persuasion.
You can try to schmooze her, but what are you trying to persuade her to do?
To
let you sell it?
To be in yes, help us incriminate, but also to willingly give it back and be happy about it.
To willingly give it back. She goes, well, maybe we can help each other. I'll tell you what. If you allow me to use this to incriminate Lord Sage, I will leave out any information about Armand Hammer, and you could sell it to Lord Ochre for that. But Sage, he's been a thorn in my side for a decade.
I mean, I'm down for just bringing everybody down.
You're welcome to have both of them destroyed, but I would love to be the one to take down Sage. It would do me a great deal of personal satisfaction, you understand?
I mean, that's fine, because Pandora is over here, and, basically we want the same thing, just with different people.
I think we would owe her that much.
Yeah, we should just let her have the information and just let her pay us instead of, take whatever. I mean, she might not give us as much as Ochre was going to, but it sounds like we'll get money out of the information regardless, and then she gets to go shit on some shitheads.
Yeah. So, yeah.
She tells you, well, I can do more than just pay you in gold, of course. I noticed you're not wearing that scythe. If you happen to lend it to me for a short time, I could see if I could remedy its detractions and keep the positives, if you'd like me to see if I can do the same way as I've done with Davos's blade there.
Yes, well, technically not my books. I did not take it off the corpse.
I could do more than that. If there's anything arcane you'd like some more information on, more than happy to provide it.
I think it's kind of up to you, Pandora and Aark. What do y'all want for y'all's book? We took off the corpse of a dead man, like real pirates.
I'm all for just as much gold as possible, honestly.
I can do that as well.
Cash in. Because the man is dead, my arc is over.
Yeah.
But
yeah. She will.
You have to totally ask for cool trinkets. Like, gold's one thing. I think we can get gold from anywhere, but like, I don't think we can get what she has from anywhere, right? Like, she's got to have
something cool.
Yeah, she's the source for cool things. Fortunately.
Yeah, when they met her, she was a merchant selling magical items and buying magical items. She goes, "Oh yes, I'd be happy to buy and sell, or buy and pot with quite a few things." Let me do a quick thing. I'd also be happy. I noticed you were reading that stone pretty well there, son. It's difficult stuff to work out. I could recognize the headache forming as you were trying to worm out the meaning. But if you ever have any questions about anything arcane, I'd be happy to give it a second glance. She has a few things that she'll give you. Oh God. Okay.
Come back to this next week if we have to.
Well, I'm gonna say she will offer 3 magical items of at least rare value in exchange for the book. If you do 3 magic items, that's not counting the scythe, that's not counting any gold. If you'd like to do the scythe, that'll cost one of the items. If you'd like the golds, we'll say 2,000 gold per item. So you get a combination of magic items, scythe, and gold, any combination of those that you desire. But 3 slots, so to speak.
So 4K gold in the scythe.
Yeah, or 6K gold, or 2K gold and 2 items.
Or 2K scythe, 1 item.
Like, I'm not gonna tell you guys.
2
what
girls,
to
1
do.
cup.
It feels like there's so much
God.
gold and so much cap, like ceiling for other gold.
I mean,
Yeah.
we have
Now
a
this
good
is,
bit.
and this is also on their understanding that she take it for full credit. For credit on both Armand and Lord Sage.
Yeah, she can do it.
If you want her to do one of those, that'll cost one of your 3 slots. She's willing to do it because you persuaded her that that was an option, but she's not willing to throw away too much in addition to that.
No, yeah, this is under the understanding she gets to do whatever she wants with the information. It's hers.
Okay, so scythe gold items. What are we doing?
I mean, maybe we should.
The items are cool.
Yeah, do you want to look? Can we look at items over the week or something?
Well, I'm gonna pull you. I'll give you a
Oh.
choice of like 3 or 4 rare items to let you pick. Like if you guys pick all 3 magical items, I'll give you like a list of 10. But then you guys have to figure it out before next week what you got, so I can add it to your sheets.
Can I
I
also schmooze her for if she finds any more information on my sister in this book?
She'll do that free of charge. She tells
Yeah.
you. You tell her name and what you saw, and she says, "LKD isn't much to go on, but if I can make heads or tails of it, I'll be more than happy to let you know. I'll see if there's anybody else in here sold to that particular moniker."
All right, and I tell her thanks and press my wet cat nose on her cheek as a sign of affection.
She gives you a little chin scritch.
Mer.
She said, "Meow."
So let's.
If I was gonna get an item, I think I'm willing to sacrifice my item to let Gulbrand get a scythe that gives him health back with no negative repercussions.
Right.
That
Yeah,
would be
we
pretty
can
fucking
give her
cool.
the scythe and get 2 more items if y'all want. Or
Scythe,
That
2
would be
items?
cool. Yeah, I
Sounds
think
good.
I agree.
All right, scythe, 2
I
items.
would like an item. I would like an item, yeah.
Let's see what she's got.
You
I'm
guys
all
do also
good.
have the. Barbara has the coat. The 2 +1 weapons are up, or excuse me, not +1. The 2 weapons that Armand had are up for grabs, if anyone would like those. Scythe item. Excellent. As you guys finish up with her, Lord Knight Erembor comes out and sees Davos in the courtyard and approaches you, and he goes, "Davos, there you are, my boy. I've been looking for you. I told them to tell you to find me as soon as you got here, but whatever. Listen, I've got something I want to talk to you about. All the lords
And ladies.
and ladies. Sorry, lady. It's a new change. Listen. I've been doing a lot of thinking since the attack on Nightstone. I can't make up my mind what his accent was, and I'm trying to remember and I cannot. So fuck it. Listen, I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I was thinking about how long I was petrified, how much time I lost, and those that are still left in Caelithicus Den. Man, there were a couple of dozen of statues in there. I've talked to Helena about it. Helena and Taylor whipped me up a few potions that can restore these type of petrified individuals. And Knight Sarah, who's done this a time or two, is willing to come with me. I want to take her, Lord Amherst, and a few guards as an escort, and try to unpetrify those that are in Caelithicus' lair. But I recognize that this is your town, and I need your permission to do that. And Gulbrand, if you wouldn't mind, I would like a few of the blue bears to come with us. Those that have been in the caverns and know it a little better than we do.
How long of a trip do you think that would take?
Well, if we can grab a few horses, which I checked and looks like you guys have plenty, we can get there about 5 or 6 days, spend a couple of days there, then 5 or 6 back.
How many men total are you taking?
Him, Lord Sarah, Lord Amherst, couple of guards, couple of blueberries. 5, 7, somewhere around there.
So let's just say 3 weeks. That's cutting it close.
3 weeks. Well, remember, weeks in D&D time are 10 days. So he would be gone
10 days.
up to 14 days. So a 10-day and a half. 6 there, 6 back, 2 days there. That's the long end of things. And he says, Davos, I know it's risky with what's going on, but I just feel pulled. I feel like this is something I've got to do. I've got to help these people. I mean, somebody else's dad is in there. Somebody's son. Some of these people might not even have anybody left, but they shouldn't be left like that.
And refresh from memory, it's just people, not giants, not anybody.
There were other
dangerous.
creatures there, but if you ask, he's like, oh, well, I'm not gonna fucking unpetrify the Minotaur. I mean, fuck, no. Like, I'm the fucking creatures she can keep, but the people, the gnomes, the elves, the humans, the orcs, I want to help them out the best I can.
There could be giants there. Probably are giants there.
If you want, you do remember a hill giant specifically there. If you want, I can unpetrify them too.
No, inhabiting the place. There might be giants
stone
living
giants.
there again. Yes.
Because, no, I understand that. But without Kaya Lithico is the only one that was particularly hostile against small folk. And y'all cleared out quite a few of them. Now, I'm going to do my best to stay low to the ground and, keep out of sight, but I'm not overly concerned about what will happen if we're discovered. Especially if we have, Sarah and a few other arms on our side.
I mean, I'd feel weird telling my dad he can't do something.
Sounds like he's going to do what he wants, whether he gets our permissions or not.
We've
he'll
done
tell
dumber
you.
things.
If you guys have that exchange, he'll say, I am a citizen of Nightstone. You may be my son, but you are all my lords. I will heed to your decision.
Yeah, but then you won't make the cranberry pie next year because of it.
It'll be very dry. It'll be practically inedible.
It always is.
Oh, he takes 2 points of psychic damage.
I don't really see any
yeah,
reason not to let him go. I mean,
I would emphasize, look, we have an army marching on the city. If you can be back, within 14 days, you should be okay. Maybe even we get a few extra people out of it.
He says, it'll be about 8 days when we leave there. And if what I've heard from Valkyr and Sidiri is right, then we should be ahead of the curve. I think we'll be fine. And like you say, more troops on the battlefield, people that will be indebted to us, that will be thankful for what we've done for them. At this point, every fucking man counts, right?
Yeah.
take some
And woman.
unblooded.
What'd you say, Devos?
And woman.
And woman. What'd you say, Devin?
Take some unblooded. He doesn't want him to take Riker, Hydia, Revna, or not generals, but
Okay.
tribe leaders.
Yeah. He'll take, a couple of warriors nonetheless. They're not the crafters or anything, but they're at least competent. And he takes a couple of guards, and him and Sarah and Lord Amherst mount a few of the extra horses and take off.
And I would say if we have an extra messaging stone or whatever,
You
so
could
that way
choose.
if there's any issues.
Do clerics get access to sending?
I think so.
If
Well-
so, I will say Sarah has that spell. I didn't intend on that purpose, but that's a good... It is a cleric spell, so yeah. Sarah has access to it, so she can send you guys messages if something goes terribly wrong. Or wrong at all, I guess.
Okay, cool. Or if we need to get in touch with them, hey, you know.
Do y'all have sending? Lurgan can learn sending. In fact, I think a couple of you can.
Scrying's not sending.
You should be able to as a bard, if you can do 3rd level bard spells. But, you know, so people in your party can cast it.
Okay.
We'll do one more thing before we close, just because it's a shorter thing. You guys go talk to Sadiri and Valkyr, who are in the barracks, and Sadiri has a map out in front of him of the continent. And when he sees you approach, Lords of Nightstone. Perfect. We were just discussing some of our plans. The forces of Bane Darkwind have, of course, wiped out Everaska. We presume they're marching eastward, as per their inclination to eradicate us. And as such, we've sent communications to all of our forces, in Goldenfield, Secumber, and Daggerford. We've also tried to send messages to Helmshold, the Knights of the Order of the Aster, the Lord's Alliance, and Gauntlgrim. We don't know necessarily where this conflict will take place, or where is best to intercept them. We're trying to gather everyone's intelligence and see what the best plan is. I believe... Secumber believes it'll be 10 days before Bane's forces are within range of his city. But he's hesitant to evacuate. He doesn't want to make his city a battleground, but he doesn't want them to claim it without any struggle either. He's spent his entire career trying to keep the Zent out of his city. Do you suggest that we try to convince him to retreat, or make a stand there? Or make a stand with him there?
Would they be able to host the armies? Is there enough facilities there?
We could set up camps, at least. It would... I don't know if all of our forces could fit within his walls, per se. But at the looks of it, we might be fighting on the fields before the city anyway.
If he comes back to here, though, we can force them to siege. Which is not, I guess, Gulbrand knows, sieges suck.
Indeed.
The attacking party, mostly. But I also wonder if we can't meet them, particularly, we're not on the big map right now, but there's a very large marsh that they have to cross through. And that's where I would go gank a whole army if I had the chance, but I'm not a military man, Devin or Gulbrand, so that might be a shitty idea.
I would, since they are supposed to be, I guess, military people, I would almost pose it back on them and ask, from a tactical stance, what are the probabilities of losses going there versus waiting on them to come here?
Without knowing the true numbers, it's difficult to say. The composition of their units, if they have more archers than footmen, if they have mostly cavalry, if they have aerial units, we don't know anything about their army. If we could pose a stand at Secumber. There's a bridge that they would have to cross to get over the rivers, the River Delambir. If we could try to chokehold their ground units, but anything with range or with flight would be able to cross right over.
Would we have any other scouts available to get more info on their army?
We could certainly send a few riders forward, and we do have a few at Eastwatch that we could send to be there even quicker. Torum, my lieutenant, has a small dispatch there. We could even house our troops in Eastwatch until we move to Secumber if we needed to.
And for those of you that don't know, we also have ranged and flying. We're flying units now? No? I know we have ranged units.
Not technically flying units. You do have ranged units, yes, sir.
We have the ship, though. That's a flying unit.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. You are correct. You do have that.
My thought is exactly that. It's a war of information first. I think we need details, and then from there we decide where to make a stand.
He goes,
Yeah, we need more information.
I can send a few of my men, but they're, unfortunately not very stealthy. If, I saw that Osvius returned with you. If you'd like, we could dispatch him, but I will warn you that this is a very risky mission.
It's not healed yet, is he?
Would we be better off using the Wyvern?
Or
That's
maybe your
a
crystal
very,
ball.
that's a very large target, the Wyvern. It would be difficult to conceal it. And if they do have ranged aerial units, they will likely take fire upon you. Or worse, give chase. You guys also know he doesn't. You know something about the army that he doesn't.
Oh, we thinks they has the dragons.
The blood drains from his face. The Darkwind has a dragon.
I
A
wouldn't worry about
black
it.
one. It's
We've
big.
killed once. Yeah, we've killed once before, so I wouldn't worry about this. Pats him on the shoulder.
But, well, a dragon in itself is no issue, but a dragon with 150 men, that's a bit more of a struggle, don't you think?
Bit
A
more,
black do you know, you said big, is it as big as that old fuck that you have, the fucking head that they're still fucking taxiderming to put on your fucking keep? Is it as big as that one?
Let's assume. Yes, although we don't know.
Prepare
It's
for the worst.
probably not a youngin.
He sits, not voluntarily, he just kind of slouches, slumps down. Goes, oh, we don't have the firepower to take down a dragon, not that I'm aware
But
of.
we has the dragons. Tell Daphne
We have a dragon?
Tell Daphne that we have to get into contacts with Fegolis. Maybe we have to send
No.
a Wyvern to do that.
Cool.
His eyebrows shoot up a bit. Because Fegolis is sort of a... Dragons have reputations just the same as people do. Fegolis is a fairly well-known character. Goes, oh, well, if the flying misfortune is on our side, then that's... will help at least, but I won't admit I'm not entirely freed of my anxiety. But
Not
what
with a name like a flying misfortune. Yeah, no.
he laughs a bit. Well, he's terribly unlucky, and yet tremendously lucky. It's a bit of a thing with him. It seems he gets himself in these terrible situations, but always manages to get out of them, so...
I gesture my hands at him as he's sitting, and I'm like, "This man, he gets it. He gets it." I raise my hand, and I'm like, "I would prefer not to blindly fly into the mouth of hell."
Indeed. So this boils down to, you can send Osvius, who has a better chance of success, but may be killed. Or you can send a regular soldier with a lower chance of success, but if he dies, it's less of a loss to you. Devin is anxious. What do y'all feel?
I think we gotta have details, man. I don't know what
Yeah.
else to say about it.
So Gulbrand
Yeah, we
would
need
send,
information.
Gulbrand would send Osvius, probably without hesitation. It's all Devin is over here like, oh god.
I mean,
Could
I
we
agree.
send a person or two with Osvius to ensure his survival?
Well, that both helps and hurts. With more people, there's a greater chance of being discovered. Meta-wise, I'll say that Osvius has almost double the chance of a regular soldier. You could send people with him, but for every person you send, he's going to get a -1 to the plus he gets to that check.
Even if we send Gideon with him.
Gideon
Man,
can
you're really
physical?
freaking up in the ante.
I think that's, I mean,
you
from
could-
Gulbrand's perspective, he can do what he wants. Like that, you know, they sent tribe members out to do dangerous things all the time. Devin
Yeah.
doesn't really like it. But...
I mean, you could send Gideon out. I would say Gideon would have a better chance than a regular soldier. I would have to think on exactly how that would affect the check.
Yeah, what
but-
positive impact would he have, right? Like, what's the benefit of sending him versus...
He has a very similar skill set to Osvius now.
Yeah, they are both. They're more stealthy than the average soldier, and they have invisibility spells, pass without trace, certain things that make them easier to conceal.
You think you send them both and split them to sort of heighten the chance of them going in the proper direction versus being discovered?
I was actually thinking like Valkyr, somebody like that we could send with him.
I won't let you send a lord because there's a risk of death.
Okay,
and
fair.
I think it is
Never
important for you guys to know this. I didn't kill Derek just because I said so. He failed a check. He got it high enough to get the information, but not high enough to not be discovered. So your agents, the people you send out operating in the fields, just like you guys, they have it's all a roll of the dice. They have a DC they have to pass. They have a plus they get to it. Gideon and Osvius, as two relatively I hesitate to use the word powerful, but is strong by normal standards. They have a very good they have a much better chance of success than your average soldier. But anybody can roll a 1, you know? And it's not just a 1 that gets you killed. It's not a 5% chance of death, but I'm not going to tell you what that DC is.
Yeah,
So no
I don't
lord.
know. Retort back and say, if you think they're more powerful together, feel free to do as you wish. I would consider leaving it up to them. Ask them if they're willing to take the mission.
I feel like the only other real option we have is to go look ourselves. And I don't know if we could do that in time to do preparations and stuff too.
True.
Yeah, other than maybe scrying when they get to Erembor. Which there's no guarantee that would work.
And
also-
Davos, you would probably know Erembor is not along the main tradeway. Not tradeway. What's this called? The road. The fuck. Whatever this road is called. Erembor is an offshoot of that. So they would not necessarily pass through it. They would come close, depending on how broad their army is. They may come through it, but you know that the road itself does not lead through Erembor.
So there you go. Less of a chance.
So,
Maybe Z's-Rap. Just let Osvius and Gideon
Well-
decide if they want to go.
Your Prescience said that we met at the joining of 2 rivers. That would be Succumber. So as far as our troops go, maybe we should make a stand there.
Where the
you do know
bridge
that
is.
Succumber meets at 2 rivers. You also know that Loudwater and Erembor are at the meeting of 2 rivers. You know that Lork is at the meeting of 2 rivers. There are a couple of cities that fit that description, but Succumber is certainly one of them.
Probably
How-
the best of those.
You know that Loudwater is not an ally by any means, and is largely corrupt with Byzantarum forces. So you gather setting up a stand there would actually be more risky than practically anywhere else that you've considered thus far.
At this point, I'm kind of thinking maybe we should just make them siege. We have defenses that, like, I'm not incorrect in thinking it would have to be a siege. Like, we have siege tiered defenses. Is that right?
Yes, I mean, you would, it is winter time. You guys are in late fall, early winter. You don't have food within the city itself producing. You do have food stores. Strongholds and Followers, I don't think actually has rules for sieges. I'll have to look a little closer at that. You would have better odds. Now, Nightstone at this point, you haven't finished your keep upgrade because of the setbacks with the damage when Harshnag attacked. You guys will have Ballista. You will have certain things to assist you.
But only in Nightstone.
Well, the Ballista, the Octopus, stuff like that is tied to this location. Now, you could go and take all of your troops, certainly, to Succumber. And
Not the
who's to say how much who's to say that the Octopus and the Ballista help that much in the grand scheme of things if this is better from a, perspectives. Basically, I'll need to decide who you're sending to spy and if Lord Succumber should retreat or if you're meeting him there. So let's start with the latter of that. Who wants to meet Lord Succumber at his city? 1?
Or even
Yeah.
further out. I would even consider marching, not all the way to Loudwater, but definitely
feel
trying
like
to meet them in their tracks.
We'd have better chances in Succumber or Eastwatch.
Wherever we
Sadiri does agree with you. With the bridge crossing there, that's a bottleneck that we can use to our advantage. Their physical ground troops have to cross that bridge, no matter what. So we can.
Yeah, I agree. I thought both. Maybe we do send people out, but maybe we also send preparations to potentially destroy the bridge if necessary to try and prevent ground troops and sort of cripple their army.
Not a bad idea.
That's my thought.
I think we had 3 for going to Succumber, which is what we need to pass for a group of 5.
I always lean to Gulbrand. I've mentioned that before, but whatever. If he raises his hand, unless it's something stupid, like if he says, "I want to go jump into a volcano," then I'm gonna look at you and be like, "Good luck, moron." But
I don't know. Pandora would feel like there was a reason he wanted to jump into said volcano, and she just followed him.
Pandora, you're the ultimate enabler, and I love it.
Oh yeah.
The hype man for all stupid decisions.
No balls won't do it.
So we know we're going to Succumber. Are we sending a soldier, Osvius, or Osvius and Gideon?
I think Gulbrand would want to send whoever he thinks has the highest success rate.
I want to send both. I agree.
Who does Gulbrand think has the highest success rate?
I don't think Gulbrand would be able to tell if both of them together would be better or just one of them. I think Gulbrand would lean towards both of them because that's how war parties worked. But
the idea of the second guy was that if Osvius was captured or close, that Gideon would be able to help survive.
And that's why I thought that Gulbrand would agree with that, is because two people are going to have a better chance of sort of eluding, escaping, figuring out a plan than one person alone.
Yeah, they're easier to spot when they're two people, but they have an extremely similar skill set that, they didn't get caught in Skullport, so, they're the best people for the job. At least I would think.
And also,
I will say
Gideon does have sleep.
Gulbrand would not avoid sending Gideon because he would feel that it was a cowardly way to not do it. He would be like, "No, you're going. Prove yourself, young one."
Yep, if you're the best at it, you're the one that needs to go do it.
Indeed. And I'll say from a meta perspective, what Gideon going with him will do, the chance of success will be fairly similar. I think Osvius technically has a higher stealth score. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm fairly certain. But what Gideon would do is he would decrease the chance for death on both of them. Now, they would still have to make 2 checks, so obviously there's an increased risk there, but the DC for death would be lower.
Which is good, because we don't want them to die.
Is it really?
Well, if they die, then Gulbrand will be more fierce in battle.
Oh, well, the DC would go down, I'm sorry. There would be a smaller percentage of death for either one of them, but there would be 2 checks as opposed to 1. So, it
creates more variance, but as long as you're rolling the same dice, I don't think it technically changes the percentage chance.
Well, it does. If I say under a 5 dies, one character only has a 25% chance of dying. But with 2 characters, you're looking at a 37% chance that one of them will die. You feel me? There's a greater risk overall that someone will die, but both of them have a lesser chance of dying. Does that make sense?
You're doubling your chance of somebody getting out, but because you have to roll twice, there's a higher probability that somebody will fail.
I got you. I see now.
It's the way math and statistics work.
Yeah, I
fucking
hate
not your
math.
strong suit.
Yeah, statistics are so neat, but I fucking hate math.
It's kind of
This
like
week on percentages and phylacteries.
the 3-door stats problem. Open the 3rd door. It's really a 33% chance of success, even though it's still 2 doors.
Is this the Price is Right? What is going on?
Right.
Yeah.
$1, Bob.
All right.
I'm gonna look at Gulbrand and say you get to decide whether or not you send your kid.
Soldier,
I thought he said-
Osvius, or both?
Both.
Devin.
Both.
Both? Z. Oh, I think that's it. All right. You will send Osvius and Gideon. And as the last thing before we close, Gulbrand, you begin to make your way to the tribe. And I want y'all to do me a favor. I'm going to go back to the Nightstone map. On the southwestern portion of the map, that's the bottom left for those of you who are fucking stupid.
Wow.
You will see the
Not
Uthgardt
expecting
camp.
that.
Hey man, never eats like the waffles.
You will see the Uthgardt camp. Kodiak, Riker, Mira, all the ones who went to restore the stands have come back. They have restored the stand at Bayo Run as well, which is a very important site to the Uthgardt, by planting the fire opal that you got from Akanaria, who got it from the daughter of Duke Zalto. You also know that Saphyne has planted your fake horn in the Misty Forest, as requested. Now, when the party returned, the Red Tigers, as they restored a Red Tiger stand, they come back with several troops. you restoring their stand has given you a very high degree of trust from the Red Tiger tribe, and several of them have come back to reinforce. So there are more warriors here than when you left. They also sent a messenger to the Black Lion tribe, the other tribe that shares that stand, to notify them that it was restored. Another group of Uthgard arrived. You see Chief Seiko and the Grey Wolves. Around this circle, you see dozens of people, but particularly, you see different types of Uthgard. You see the Great Worm tribe, represented in Ori. You see Kaya, representing the Raven tribe. You see Rancor, representing the Lions. Seiko, representing the Grey Wolves. Marengo of the Sky Ponies. Riker of the Tigers. Myra of the Elves. And, of course, several Blue Bears. This is not a moot proper, where all the tribes would come together. But this is the biggest gathering, Gulbrand, that you know in your lifetime for sure. It's a very serious moment. And Z, as you approach with them, you see a figure that looks familiar. Gray around the muzzle, older than you remember, but it's been, what did you tell your father, decades?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It's been quite some time. But you recognize the man who led the attack on your town. The man who slaughtered your family, your friends, your dog, who, all in the belief that your people did something that you know your people didn't. And you feel your blood boil as the spirits within you, their anger is added to yours. Your skin begins to crack and have that molten formation. We're going to end our session here tonight. But
Damn,
Z,
we gotta open up with like a episode of Dr. Phil.
But Z, I want you to think about
Goku
how
going
you would
Super
react
Saiyan.
in this moment. And I think it's A+ for asking Gulbrand on the ride over here. Because I'm like, oh, perfect foreshadowing.
Yeah, I mean, even as I approach the circle, like, probably for the first time ever, you see Z, like, sort of drop composure. He doesn't even look like himself anymore. And he drops into almost like a primal squat, just like his elbows on his knees, like his hands sunken. Like, if you can imagine, I don't know who's watched Dragon Ball Z, but like when Vegeta's like just absolutely pissed and he just sort of slouches and his arms go limp.
Yeah.
It's like that, and like cracks have erupted across his entire body. Like my skin is literally smoking. My hair almost has like wisp of flame
This dude's going
reaching off the
Saiyan.
top for the first time ever. And I just look in the distance, like dead-eyed, potentially inconsolable. I'm not even certain if conversation will stop what's going on inside right now.
Please tell me the
And
lead
more like
werewolf's name is
Starfighter.
Kakarot.
His second in command is now, motherfucker. With that, my dudes, we're going to end there. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Sorry I ran a little late. We started a little late, and that's just kind of how things rolled out. Love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Be good to one another. And
Is it Friday yet?
Oh!
Oh.
Deuces.